Chapter 924. Outsiders, if you wish to enter the city, you must first pay the spiritual marrows. Oh, how much is it? Chu Kuangren asked. 100,000 kilograms of spiritual marrows. 1,000,000. Chu Kuangren pondered for a while. It was not much, so he threw out a yin and yang ring and said, "Take it. This is for one person. There's one more." One of the guards pointed at Little Fox and said. Chu Kuangren turned to look at her. "Do you have any spiritual marrows?" Little Fox said pitifully, "Boss, my yin and yang ring has been taken by the people from the Beast Hunter planet. I don't even have half of it left." "Forget it." Chu Kuangren threw out another yin and yang ring. The guard's eyes lit up when he saw that. He then looked at the two yin and yang rings in his hand. TSK, you're quite rich. We can go in now. Go in. Remember, as outsiders, you better behave and don't cause trouble, one of the guards warned. Chu Kuangren did not say a word. TSK, this Azure Orchid Immortal Realm is full of evil toward outsiders. Wait. Just as the two were about to enter the city, a voice was heard. A man in black armor walked up to them. "General." "Greetings, General." The guards bowed respectfully. The general took the yin and yang ring from the guard and said, "If you wish to enter the city, you'll have to pay another 100,000,000 spiritual marrows." Chu Kuangren frowned. "Why?" "Because she's a demon." The general pointed at Little Fox and said, "Is there a difference? I don't like these furry and armored people. If you wish to enter the city, you'll have to pay more spiritual marrows. Otherwise, get lost." The general said coldly, "Seeing how you can casually throw out 2,000,000 spiritual marrows, I don't think it'll be difficult for you to fork out another 100,000,000. Not far away, a young man riding a lion slowly entered the city. He was not stopped at all. "Why can he enter? Isn't he riding a demon?" Chu Kuangren pointed at the young man. "Cut the crap. Are you going to pay up or not?" The general snorted. The guards at the side also had a playful look on their faces when they saw this scene. "You guys are just trying to scam us. What demon race identity is just an excuse." Little Fox was infuriated beyond words. "Nonsense, hand it over." The little fox gnashed its teeth in anger. Chu Kuangren reached out his hand and patted her head. "I didn't want to cause any trouble at first, but unfortunately, there are always people who want more." As soon as he finished speaking, an invisible force of will gushed out. That general was just an ordinary Taoist master, so there was no way he could withstand Chu Kuangren's mind power. His bones and flesh were crushed, and his entire body fell to the ground like a pile of mud, no longer breathing. Seeing this scene, the rest of the guards turned pale with fright. You actually dare to cause trouble in the ancient Sparrow City." "Outsider, are you tired of living?" a guard said in fright. "Who was the one who started it?" Chu Kuangren raised his hand and took back the two yin and yang rings that he had given out earlier. Then he brought the little fox with him and headed straight into the city. The guards stood where they were, not daring to stop them. Compared to Chu Kuangren, their strength was not even worth mentioning. "Quick, go and report to the city lord's mansion," a guard hurriedly said. Upon entering the city, Chu Kuangren could sense that many people were looking at him and the little fox with a sense of scrutiny. "Oh, such an obvious outsider's aura. It looks like she's only recently arrived in the Green Orchid Immortal World. TSK, look at that little fox beside her. She looks quite cute, and judging from her aura, she's a Taoist master." "Taoist master? Wow, that's impressive." Many people pointed at Chu Kuangren and the little fox. However, they did not do anything to them. After all, although they did not like outsiders, they did not want to cause trouble. Not to mention that the little fox was a Taoist master. The people of the immortal realm are too unfriendly towards us. The little fox frowned and could not help but move closer to Chu Kuangren, as if that would make her feel more secure. That's normal. Resources are limited everywhere, and the immortal realm is no exception, let alone a broken immortal realm. Didn't we come here for the opportunities of fortune and resources here? To them, we're here to compete with them for the opportunities of fortune and resources, so it would be strange if they had a good impression of us. Chu Kuangren said calmly. As he spoke, he arrived at a tavern. After ordering 2 pots of wine, He leaned against the window and used his emperor's thought to scan the ancient Sparrow City, collecting all kinds of information. Ancient Sparrow City, the City Lord's Manor, the three great families, the immortal orthodoxies, the Divine Flame Church, the Sky Fire Grotto. All kinds of information flooded into his mind. These would become the foundation for Chu Kuangren's next move. Outsider, who allowed you to drink here? Suddenly, a young man with a few people walked towards Chu Kuangren and the little fox with hostility in his eyes. Don't disturb me. I'm collecting information. Chu Kuangren did not bother to say anything else. He raised his hand and unleashed his mind power, which enveloped the few people and threw them out of the tavern. F***CK. This outsider is too arrogant. D***M*. What a powerful mind power. The young man and the others were about to go and settle the score with Chu Kuangren. However, at that moment, a series of uniformed footsteps rang out. Hundreds and thousands of fully armed soldiers were rushing towards the tavern. What's going on? What are these people trying to do? The leader of this group of soldiers was a young man in silver-white armor. He looked at the tavern and yelled, "Outsider inside, listen up. You've been surrounded. Surrender now." The cultivators in the tavern were shocked. The city guards are going to arrest outsiders? This is bad. Let's leave now before we get caught in the crossfire. Not daring to stay any longer, the group quickly left the tavern. Very soon, the once bustling restaurant became extremely deserted. Other than Chu Kuangren and the little fox, there was only a drunken old man who was curled up in a corner, hugging a jar of wine in his arms. His hair was unkempt and his face was dirty. "Boss, it looks like they're here to arrest us." The little fox looked at the soldiers outside the tavern and said, "Of course." Chu Kuangren had just killed a guard at the city gate. It would be strange if the ancient Sparrow City Lord did not take action. What do we do now? Let's stay put. Chu Kuangren had sensed that the strongest cultivators in ancient Sparrow City were only false immortals. With his strength, he could handle them. "Outsider, I'll give you one more chance. If you don't surrender now, you'll have to bear the consequences," the silver-armored general said coldly. "Oh, you keep calling me an outsider. Aren't you from the immortal realm too?" Chu Kuangren glanced at the general and said. He also sensed a foreign aura from the other party's body. Although it was very weak, it couldn't hide from his senses. It seemed like the general had been in the immortal realm for quite some time. Otherwise, the foreign aura would not have weakened to such an extent. "You're asking for it." The silver-armored general's expression darkened, as if he was angered by Chu Kuangren's words. "Go. Execute them on the spot." At his command, the soldiers immediately charged towards Chu Kuangren. Their auras exploded, and they were all emperors. However, as if they had encountered an irresistible force, the soldiers exploded one after another, turning into a rain of blood. "You're all too weak. If you want to kill me, ask your city lord to come here himself. Perhaps then you might stand a chance." Chapter 925. How powerful. This person is definitely a heavenly lord, the cultivators on the street exclaimed. Chu Kuangren, the instigator of all this, was still sitting quietly by the window with an indifferent expression. He was unmoved by what was happening. The silver-armored general snorted and unleashed a powerful aura before he charged towards Chu Kuangren. His strength had reached the heavenly lord realm. When he waved the spear in his hand, a strong gust of wind seemed to tear the void apart. "Die, outsider!" The silver-armored general snorted. "You're also an outsider, yet you keep calling me an outsider. What a joke." Chu Kuangren could not help but chuckle. In the Green Orchid Immortal Realm, many outsiders worked hard to integrate themselves into the immortal realm so that they would not be discriminated against by the immortal realm's natives. Some even despised their outsider identities. They were even more oppressive towards outsiders than the natives. It was as if that was the only way they could get rid of their outsider identities. By oppressing outsiders, they could get rid of the fact that they were outsiders as well, in order to gain the recognition of the immortal realm's natives. Chu Kuangren could only describe such a thing as ridiculous. He ignored the silver-armored general's spear and unleashed his emperor's chi, which landed on the general's body. The sound of bones cracking was heard, and the silver-armored general was hit by that terrifying force. He was sent flying and crashed into a building. After that, there was no more movement from him. "You're awesome, boss." The little fox cheered excitedly from the side. Among the crowd, a gaze fell upon Chu Kuangren and the little fox behind him with an inexplicable glint in their eyes. "This person is too powerful for us to handle. We must let the higher-ups deal with him. A celestial seed, overlord." The rest of the soldiers knew that they were no match for him, so they quickly contacted their higher-ups. Far away, a powerful burst of energy erupted. 2 rays of light flew over. Judging from their energy, they were both late-stage heavenly lords. A late-stage heavenly lord was considered a top-notch below immortal. "How dare you fight in the ancient Sparrow City?" Oomph! When the 2 late-stage heavenly Tao masters arrived at the inn, their auras immediately locked onto Chu Kuangren. Their domineering auras engulfed the entire place. "It's a little troublesome if they come one by one. Why don't I just kill my way into the city hall?" Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed with a cold, murderous intent. Just when Chu Kuangren was about to make his move, another white ray of light flew over from afar and blocked the way of the 2 late-stage heavenly Tao Master Generals. It was a sage-like old man with white hair and a white robe. Seeing this person, the 2 generals' gazes froze, as if they were afraid. "Elder Ancestor Bai, what are you doing here?" Elder Ancestor Bai smiled faintly and said, "Generals, this person is fated to be with the Bai family. I can't sit back and watch you hurt him." "Oh, the Bai family is openly opposing the City Lord's mansion," a general said in an unfriendly tone. Over the years, the Bai family had been growing stronger and stronger, and there was a faint tendency to contend with the City Lord's mansion. This had always been a sore point for the City Lord. Naturally, they were aware of this. However, they did not expect the Bai family to have the guts to appear in front of everyone and protect the person the City Lord's mansion wanted to kill. "Generals, you've misunderstood me. I have no intention of opposing the City Lord's mansion. It's just that I've investigated this matter. At the city gate, it was because one of the guards picked a fight for no reason and forcefully collected the spirit marrows. That angered this young man. As for what happened after that, this young man was just trying to protect himself." Elder Ancestor Bai said, No matter what, this person killed the guards and disrupted the order of the ancient Sparrow City. He must be executed on the spot." "That's right. Elder Ancestor Bai, you better step aside." Elder Ancestor Bai pondered for a while before he took out a yin and yang ring and said, "There are 10 billion spirit marrows in here. The Bai family will be responsible for the losses and troubles this young man has caused. How's that sound?" Seeing that yin and yang ring, the 2 generals' eyes flashed. They seemed to be a little tempted, but they did not immediately agree to it. At that moment, as if they had received a message, their eyes lit up and one of them said, "Add another 10 billion. Elder Ancestor Bai gritted his teeth. "Deal." He took out another 10 billion spirit marrows, giving a total of 20 billion to the 2 generals. Then, "Can I take this little friend away now?" "Bai family, you're on your own now." One of the generals snorted and retreated. "Why do you think the City Lord let this person go? The Bai family is growing stronger by the day, and the City Lord is planning to deal with them. Perhaps he wants to use this person as a starting point. Besides, the Bai family would not protect someone for no reason. This person must have some secrets on him." The 2 generals talked as they left. Chu Kuangren watched everything unfold in the restaurant with a playful look in his eyes. Beside him, the little fox was puzzled too. "Boss, what's going on?" You'll find out soon." Chu Kuangren smiled. At that moment, the Bai family's elder ancestor had already arrived in front of Chu Kuangren with a young man. However, the Bai family's elder ancestor did not look at Chu Kuangren first, but at the little fox who was hiding behind him. Chu Kuangren chuckled to himself. "Greetings, fellow Taoist. I'm Bai Yeyue from the Bai family," the young man said. Chu Kuangren glanced at him. Despite his young age, his cultivation level was already at the late-stage Taoist master level. He was a peerless fairy seed. Of course, Chu Kuangren did not take him seriously. I'm Chu Kwangren. Brother Chu, you must be wondering why we're helping you. Indeed, we have a request for our help. We hope that you can use the Moonlight Fox beside you to do something for the Bai family. Bai Yue did not beat around the bush and directly stated his purpose. Oh, what if I say no? Brother Chu, we've helped you. I hope you won't bite the hand that feeds you. Bai Yue said indifferently. Did I beg you to help me? If the Bai family had not suddenly intervened, he would have killed his way to the city lord's residence and put his sword on the ancient sparrow city lord's neck. Rather than saying that the Bai family had saved him, it was more accurate to say that they had saved the city lord's residence. Bai Yue's expression turned cold. However, the Bai family's elder ancestor stopped him and looked at Chu Kwangren with a smile. Brother Chu, why don't you listen to what we want you to do? Perhaps it'll be of some help to you. Yeah, tell me about it then. Chu Kwangren said with interest. This is not a suitable place to talk. Why don't you follow me to the Bai family? The Bai family's elder ancestor smiled. Sure, Chu Kwangren said calmly. He was not afraid that the Bai family would play any tricks. With his current strength, he could go anywhere in this vast world unless a true immortal intervened. In the inn, a drunken old man holding a wine jar watched Chu Kwangren's back as he left. He let out a drunken burp and murmured, "What a great celestial seed cultivator. It's too bad the Bai family has their eyes on him." Then, he laughed at himself. What does this have to do with me? I'm just a useless person now. Chapter 926. The Bai Family. The Bai family was especially lively today. The news of the Bai family's elder ancestor protecting someone had spread far and wide. Some of the elders in the Bai family had some complaints about it. After all, the Bai family was not on good terms with the city hall, yet they still had to protect an outsider. Was that not adding fuel to the fire? However, since it was the Bai family's elder ancestor who did it, they had nothing to say. However, Chu Kwangren was different. They did not have a good impression of an outsider. He came to the Bai family and even covered his face with a spiritual light. One look and I can tell he's not a good person, a young man muttered. The others around him agreed too. After all, they were prejudiced against Chu Kwangren no matter how they looked at him. However, Chu Kwangren did not care about their comments. Brother Chu, I called you here mainly because of the Sky Fire Grotto, the Bai family's elder ancestor said. The Sky Fire Grotto. Chu Kwangren's eyes lit up. He had heard of the Sky Fire Grotto when he was collecting information. It was the residence of a person called the Sky Fire Taoist. He was an ancient, strong cultivator who had even reached the level of an immortal. But later on, this Taoist heaven fire died and his abode disappeared along with him. It was only recently that it was discovered. The Bai family was one of the discoverers. Besides them, there were several other forces such as the City Hall, Divine Flame Church, Blue Cloud City, and so on. These forces were preparing to send people to explore the cave. The Sky Fire Grotto is the residence of the Sky Fire Taoist. There are many restrictions inside. I hope you can use the Moonlight Fox's ability to help me explore this cave. Of course, the Bai family will split the treasures 30-70. How does that sound? The Bai family's elder ancestor smiled. I'll take 30 and you'll take 70. That's too much a bargain. This heavenly fire wonderland has already been sealed by a few of our forces. It's hard for outsiders to enter. Brother Chu, it's already a great fortune for me to let you be the representative of the Bai clan. Not to mention, there's also a share of the treasures. You should be satisfied. I'm contributing, and you're only contributing one spot. I don't think it's worth it no matter how I look at it. How about this 50-50? The Bai family's elder ancestor said. Chu Kwangren smiled indifferently. No, we'll do as you said. 3-7, but it'll be 7 for me and 3 for you. Brother Chu, you're going too far. Don't forget who saved you just now. Also, if it wasn't for my Bai clan, you wouldn't have been able to enter the heavenly fire wonderland. Don't even think about getting 73%. Bai Yue said with a gloomy face. Then there's nothing to talk about. All right, then we'll do as fellow Chu says. You get 70% and I get 30%. Elder Ancestor Bai took a deep breath and said. A strange look flashed across Chu Kwangren's eyes. Oh, he really agreed? Then it's settled. There are still a few days left until the appointed time to explore the heavenly abode. Fellow Taoist Chu, you can stay at our Bai clan for the time being. Elder Ancestor Bai said as he ordered someone to bring Chu Kuangren away to rest. After Chu Kuangren left, Bai Yue asked in confusion, Forefather, a 73 split is too much. Why did you agree to that, kid? 70-30? Don't even think about getting it. Elder Ancestor Bai, who was originally kind and gentle, suddenly had a dark look in his eyes. It's just that this person's strength is extraordinary, so I can use him for the time being. Once the heavenly abode is explored, be it the treasures in the heavenly abode or the moonlight fox, the Bai clan wants it all. I see. Bai Yue also let out a cold smile when she heard that. The Bai clan arranged a house for Chu Kuangren. On the other hand, Chu Kuangren set up some restrictions at his place. Apart from Little Fox, no one else could come and go as they pleased. Boss, the Bai clan seems to be up to no good. Little Fox reminded him from his side. Do you think I don't know if even you can sense it? However, I'm a little interested in the heavenly abode, and they're up to no good. Am I a lamb waiting to be slaughtered? Who knows if I'll be a lamb in a wolf's den or a tiger in a sheep's den? Chu Kuangren smiled playfully. Little Fox could not help but recall the majestic scene of the dragon and phoenix on the path of ascension. She could not help but silently mourn for the Bai clan for 3 seconds. These people have no idea how terrifying of a person they've set their eyes on. All right, I'm going to refine the immortal crystal. Guard me from the side, Chu Kuangren said. He took out a milky white prismatic crystal the size of a baby's fist. It was one of the immortal crystals he obtained from Hong Shui. Guard. Little Fox was excited when she heard that. She immediately stood up straight and patted her chest. Don't worry, boss. As long as I'm here, no one can get close to you. Then I'll have to trouble you. Chu Kuangren began to refine the immortal crystal in his hand. Little Fox did not dare to disturb him. Instead, she kept her guard up. She was a little excited. Guard? Generally speaking, cultivators would only look for someone they trusted to protect them. Since Chu Kuangren was asking her to protect him, did that not mean that he had already treated her as someone he could trust? Oh no, Fox. Little Fox's heart was filled with joy when she thought of that. She looked at Chu Kuangren's handsome face that was now devoid of spiritual light. No one knew what she was thinking, but her face was a little red. No, don't let your thoughts run wild. Since you trust me so much, I must guard you well and not let anyone get close. Little Fox shook her head and said. At that moment, Chu Kuangren, who was refining the immortal crystal, was not completely oblivious to the outside world. He had 3 souls, so he had to split one of them to observe the outside world. It made no difference whether Little Fox was there or not. Chu Kuangren would not easily entrust his safety to others, not to mention a fox that he had not known for long. Little Fox, what is she thinking? Chu Kuangren could not help but shake his head when he saw the change in Little Fox's expression. It did not take long for Chu Kuangren to completely refine the immortal crystal in his hand. He could feel that his origin energy had grown a little stronger. Although it was not obvious, he could still feel it. The immortal crystal's function is more to strengthen the origin energy that I already have. However, it's not practical to rely on a few immortal crystals to develop a new origin energy. Immortal techniques and physique are still the most important things in my cultivation from now on. Chu Kuangren murmured. He got up and prepared to go out for a walk. Hey, boss, have you finished refining the immortal crystal? Yeah, that's too fast. Little Fox was dumbfounded. She looked at the sky outside and saw that it was dawn. It had only taken him 1 night. Are immortal crystals that easy to refine? Little Fox was a little confused. In the end, she could only conclude that Chu Kuangren was different from ordinary people. Boss, you're indeed the boss. You're different in every way, Little Fox exclaimed. Then she followed behind Chu Kuangren like a little tail. Brother Chu, are you going out? Chu Kuangren had only taken a few steps when he bumped into Bai Yue. When she saw where he was going, her eyes flashed. Don't worry, I won't leave before the matter at Sky Fire Grotto is over, Chu Kuangren said calmly. He then walked past her and left the Bai residence with Little Fox without looking back. Oomph, get someone to follow him. Bai Yue snorted coldly and said to the void. Soon, a few shadows followed Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren, Celestial Seed Overlord. Oomph, even if you're in Celestial Seed Overlord, you're still an outsider. Once the matter at Skyfire Grotto is over, I'll make sure you die. A cold glint flashed across Bai Yue's eyes. He was also a peerless celestial seed, but compared to Chu Kuangren, there was still a huge gap. This kind of difference in talent made him feel jealous. Chapter 9:27. Ancient Sparrow City. Inside a restaurant, Chu Kuangren ordered a pot of wine from the waiter. Due to his previous battle with the city guards, many people knew that he was not someone to be trifled with, so no one dared to provoke him. In the immortal realm, even if one was an outsider, as long as one had the ability, one would be treated like a lord wherever one went. Old beggar, you're here to steal wine again. Get out of my sight. A shout came from not far away. An old man was thrown out by the owner of the restaurant. The wine jar in his hand fell to the ground, spilling wine all over the floor. The old man's face was flushed red as he lay on the ground, reeking of alcohol. The surrounding customers were all dressed in fancy clothes. As if they were afraid of being tarnished, they spat on the ground in disgust and took a few steps back. Chu Kuangren glanced at them, and a strange look flashed across his eyes. Waiter, let that old man in. Let him drink whatever he wants and put it all on my tab, Chu Kuangren said calmly. The waiter was a little confused when he heard that. The old man was quite surprised too. The waiter was a little hesitant. Master, this old man is so sloppy. I'm afraid he'll disturb the other customers if he comes in. There's 100 million spiritual marrows here. I'll book this restaurant. Chu Kuangren threw out a yin and yang ring and said, 100 million spiritual marrows was more than most cultivators could spend in their lifetime. The waiter's eyes lit up when he caught the yin and yang ring. Not far away, the manager walked up with a flattering smile. Master, you can book this restaurant if you want. I'll arrange it right away. How dare an outsider be so arrogant? Do you think you can book this restaurant just like that? Do you really think we don't exist? A cultivator could not help but shout. That's right, outsider. Don't be too arrogant. I won't leave today. Many cultivators agreed. Boom. At that moment, a terrifying, murderous intent swept across like a raging wave. The entire restaurant instantly felt like it had fallen into an ice cellar. Those people who were still clamoring were like ducks that had their necks strangled. They suddenly couldn't say a word. I said I'll book this restaurant. Scram! A soft shout was heard, and the terrifying, murderous intent almost solidified. Everyone couldn't help but shiver. When the killing intent disappeared, the customers in the restaurant didn't dare to stay any longer. They ran away faster than rabbits. That killing intent. How many people did he have to kill to have that? It was too terrifying. Could it be that this guy had slaughtered an entire civilization? Everyone thought to themselves. Compared to the terrified crowd, the old man who stole the wine was much calmer. He was just a little surprised that Chu Kuangren would suddenly invite him for a drink. He sat down in front of Chu Kuangren. Thank you so much, little friend. However, I've never met you before, so why are you treating me to a drink? To be able to drink with one of the 7 champions, who knows how many people yearn for such an opportunity. Since there is such an opportunity, I will not miss it. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. This was the information he analyzed with the omniscient spirit. 7 crowns. This was an extremely resounding name in the Qinglan immortal world. It referred to the immortals who stood at the peak of the Tao of 7 weapons. The old man in front of him was one of the 7 crowns, Jianguan. Jianguan Li Jiuexin. Upon hearing Chu Kuangren mention his previous name, Jianguan's eyes lit up. Suddenly, a terrifying sword pressure was brewing on his body. Beside him, Little Fox could not help but turn pale. When the waiter who went to get the wine returned, Jianguan retracted his aura and looked dejected. What sword, Guan? I've been crippled a long time ago. Now I'm just an old man who lingers in a tavern. Little Fox was speechless. If he still had such a terrifying aura after being crippled, Then how terrifying would his strength be when he was not crippled? Was this the power of an immortal? Chu Kuangren did not speak. Obviously, he knew. The omniscient spirit's analysis also included Sword Guan's physical state. Although he was an immortal, he had been severely injured. All the immortal primordial energy in his body was used to suppress his injuries, so he could not use his strength at all. Otherwise, if his injuries were to erupt, he would definitely die. In such a situation, it was more accurate to say that he was crippled. "Little friend, are you a sword cultivator?" Jianguan suddenly asked. He saw the descendant's self sword hanging on Chu Kuangren's waist. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. You can say that. You can say that. My techniques are not limited to sword Dao. Chu Kuangren said calmly. I see. Since you've treated me to a drink, I'll give you a word of warning. No matter what the Bai clan wants from you, they're definitely up to no good. Be careful, Jianguan said. Yeah, me too. Chu Kuangren smirked. The Bai clan wanted to gain some benefits through him, but he also wanted to enter the Empyrean fire paradise through the Bai clan. It seems like the Bai clan has brought trouble upon themselves. Let's not talk about this. Let's drink. Chu Kuangren smiled. The two drank and chatted for a while. Jianguan seemed to have found someone to talk to. As he drank, he talked about how glorious he was in the past, about crossing the sunken ocean alone, killing 1,000 dragons with a single sword, about taking in the wind and clouds with a wave of his sleeves, condensing chi into a sword, and destroying hundreds of cities, not far away. The waiter and the innkeeper snorted. If you were really that powerful, would you have fallen to such a state today? TSK, damn drunkard, you're good at bragging. It's a pity that I'm just an old man now. I can't even wield a sword to kill my enemies. In the end, Jianguan lay on the table, his face red, like a helpless child, covering his face and crying. Chu Kuangren watched from the side and sighed. Even the high and mighty immortals had many unknown sides to them. Who would have thought that the drunk, crying old man in front of him was once a glorious, era-suppressing sword immortal? Here's 1 billion spiritual marrows. If he comes to drink in the future, just give it to him until the spiritual marrows run out. Chu Kuangren threw a yin and yang ring to the innkeeper. Then he got up and left. Before he left, he looked at Jianguan and murmured, maybe one day, I can restore you to your peak. He did not make a promise immediately, because he did not have that ability yet. Moreover, he only invited Jianguan for a drink on a whim. Maybe after today, they would not have the chance to meet again. Looking at Chu Kuangren's departing figure, Jianguan murmured with drunken eyes, this guy may be able to inherit my 1,000 lotus sword intent. After exiting the restaurant, Chu Kuangren strolled around the city. Then, he returned to the Bai family. About 10 days later, it was the appointed time for the Sky Fire Grotto to open. The Bai family's elder ancestor personally led Chu Kuangren, Bai Yue, and a few other sky prides with fairy seeds to the Sky Fire Grotto. Not only the Bai family, but the City Hall had also sent a large number of experts and troops to escort the fairy seeds to the Sky Fire Grotto. Chu Kuangren did a quick calculation. Excluding him, the City Hall and the Bai family alone had sent 20 fairy seeds to the Sky Fire Grotto. There's also the Divine Flame Church, Blue Cloud City, and other miscellaneous forces. This exploration trip to the Sky Fire Grotto is really a gathering of fairy seeds. Chu Kuangren chuckled, looking forward to it. It seemed like he was going to earn another wave of opportunities of fortune. Chapter 928. There was a cave on a huge mountain wall. The cave was so deep that one couldn't see the bottom, and there were faint lights of restrictions flashing in it. A group of people had already gathered around the mountain wall. These people all had extraordinary auras. This was especially true for the young geniuses. Their faces were filled with pride, and when they looked at the cave, their eyes would occasionally burn with passion. This is Skyfire Grotto Heaven, the residence of immortals. It is indeed extraordinary. Indeed, I wonder what kind of opportunities are hidden inside. Since it's the residence of an immortal, there should be plenty of immortal pills and immortal crystals. Is it even possible that there are precious treasures like immortal scriptures? Immortal scripture? That's something even more precious than immortal spells. It's the essence of an immortal's cultivation path. It's extremely rare. Countless people were discussing. A long time ago, there was no lack of immortals in a complete immortal world. Immortal arts, immortal scriptures, and the like were not too rare, but in the current Qing Lan immortal world, immortal scriptures were already peerless treasures. Even celestial orthodoxies yearned for it. In the crowd, Chu Kuangren was among them too. He looked at the celestial fire grotto and tried to use the treasure-seeking technique to see if there were any treasures hidden inside, but there wasn't much feedback. It seems like the restriction in this cave is extremely profound. It can even block the perception of treasure-seeking techniques. This really is the residence of immortals. He murmured. The treasure-seeking art was no longer of much use to him. Most of the time, he could rely on his telekinesis to achieve the same effect as the treasure-seeking technique, or even better. Buzz buzz at this moment. Suddenly, dozens of streaks of fiery light flew over from afar, whistling through the air. Everyone looked over, and their eyes were filled with solemnity. It's someone from the Divine Flame Ming cult. TSK, the Divine Flame sect, an immortal class orthodoxy. I wonder which immortal seed they sent to explore the paradise this time. Could it be those divine sons and goddesses? How is this possible? The Divine Flame Ming cult was one of the top celestial orthodoxies in the Qinglan immortal world. There were even immortals in charge. It was the strongest force that had come to explore the heavenly fire grotto heaven. Even the ancient Sparrow City was a level or two lower than it. Welcome, Divine Sun. The streams of fire floated in the air and turned into human figures. They cupped their hands and bowed respectfully. An even more majestic fiery light descended from the sky like a blazing sun, causing the surrounding void to tremble. As the flames dissipated, a red-haired young man suddenly appeared in front of everyone. The young man's eyes were like torches, and his body exuded an extraordinary pressure. Everyone looked at him in astonishment. Holy *T, Divine Sun? It's really the Divine Sun. The Divine Fire Ming cult's 8 godsons and 4 goddesses are 12 immortal seed giants. It's said that the one ranked first is an immortal seed king. He usually secludes himself in the headquarters and rarely comes out. Everyone looked at the red-haired young man with reverence in their eyes. The immortal seeds of the other forces also had solemn expressions. The Divine Fire Ming cult's Divine Sun has come personally. It seems that there are really great treasures hidden in this celestial fire grotto. Even the Divine Sun is tempted. This competition is too great. Chu Kuangren glanced at that divine child with an indifferent expression. He had completely analyzed that divine child's cultivation level and talent. This immortal seed giant is probably only slightly stronger than people like Hong Shui. It's not worth worrying about, Chu Kuangren thought to himself. Most of the people are here. The red-haired young man, who is also the Divine Sun, Vulcan Shao, said. Yes, it should be. One of the Divine Fire Ming cult's elders looked around and said, If that's the case, let's enter. Vulcan Shao said. A hint of passion flashed in his eyes. After that, he took the lead, and his figure turned into a stream of light as he dashed into the celestial fire grotto, disappearing from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. This Divine Sun is really impatient, Chu Kuangren said. Then he brought the little fox with him and walked into the celestial cave. Behind him, Bai Yeyue and the other Bai clan's immortal seeds followed suit. Then, it was the city lord's manor's immortal seeds. The leader was a young man in golden armor who looked domineering. One by one, the immortal seeds entered the celestial cave. One by one, they disappeared from everyone's sight. Outside, the strong cultivators of the older generation from the major forces were guarding them. No one followed them in. Most of them were cultivators whose potential was about to be exhausted. Even if they obtained valuable treasures, it would be difficult for them to use them to their fullest potential. Only the young cultivators who were improving by leaps and bounds would be able to use the various opportunities of fortune and treasures to their fullest potential. Their responsibility was to watch over the growth of these sky prides and immortal seeds. inside the celestial fire grotto. Chu Kuangren and the others had already entered. The grotto looked like a cave from the outside, but it was extremely vast inside with green mountains and clear waters. It looked like a paradise. The grotto was a small world built by humans. "Look, those fruit trees." At that moment, a cultivator exclaimed. He pointed at an orchard in front of them. The fruit forest was lush and verdant, and there were numerous red and fist-sized fruits growing on the trees with luxuriant branches and leaves. The fruits had Tao markings interweaving and flowing on them, and a fruity fragrance wafted out and refreshed one's nose. These were all spirit fruits. Not only that, but they were also extraordinary spirit fruits. Judging from their appearance and aura, these are ruby spirit fruits. Rumor has it that this item can purify Emperor's Qi and increase one's cultivation level. For cultivators below the immortal realm, this item is very useful. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, there are no less than 100 spirit trees here, and they're all filled with spirit fruits. This is just too much. Everyone was extremely envious. One of the cultivators could not hold back anymore and rushed towards the orchard. However, before he could get close, he was repelled by a powerful force. It's a restriction. There really is a restriction here. It's just a restriction. A few cultivators attacked the restriction again. The entire restriction shook. At this critical moment, when everyone was trying to destroy the restriction, Chu Kuangren and the little fox walked towards the restriction. The crescent mark on the little fox's forehead emitted a faint spiritual light that enveloped Chu Kuangren and herself. The restriction around them did not affect them at all. The two of them walked into the orchard with ease and began to pick the spirit fruits. How can this be? Why doesn't the restriction work on them? Everyone looked at Chu Kuangren and the little fox in confusion. Obviously, not everyone could recognize the moonlight fox. "This ability of yours is not bad," Chu Kuangren said as he patted the little fox's head. He could break the restriction with brute force, but the little fox could come and go freely without triggering the restriction. The moonlight fox's ability was too amazing. No wonder so many cultivators were so eager to get their hands on it. Chu Kuangren had thought of analyzing the moonlight fox's physique to see if he could master this ability. Unfortunately, this ability did not come with a physique. However, it did not matter. As long as he brought the little fox with him, this ability would basically belong to him. There was not much difference. Chu Kuangren waved his hand, and the countless fruits were stored into his yin and yang ring. The cultivators outside were shocked when they saw this. F*** me. If this goes on, we won't have a share anymore. Quick, hurry up and break the restriction. Chapter 9:29. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of powerful energy bombarded the barrier of the orchard. The entire restrictive formation shook. After a while, the seal was broken. Everyone rushed forward and surrounded Chu Kuangren and the little fox. However, the entire garden of fruits had already been taken away by them. Looking at the empty orchard, everyone's expressions turned ugly. Taking all the spiritual fruits for yourself? Outsider, don't you think you're going too far? A cultivator said coldly. The others also had unfriendly gazes. The group of natives had not even gotten their hands on the treasures yet, but Chu Kuangren and the other two outsiders had already gotten their hands on them. How could they sit back and do nothing? If you don't take the treasure that's right in front of you, that's going too far, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. You hand it over. That cultivator said coldly as he charged towards Chu Kuangren. A majestic emperor's qi surged in his hands. He was a minor Taoist master. Stupid. Chu Kuangren raised his hand and unleashed a punch. Along with a shocking explosion, the young Taoist was killed on the spot. The expressions of the others changed. So strong. His battle prowess is at least that of a peak great Tao Lord, perhaps even higher. Terrifying. Everyone was suddenly a little more afraid of Chu Kuangren. Outsider, hand over the spirit fruits on you. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude, the golden-armored young man said. This man was the young city lord of the ancient Sparrow City Lord Mansion. It was also a celestial seed. As soon as he spoke, Bai Yue stood up as well. However, she was now on Chu Kuangren's side. Treasures, of course, belong to those who are capable. These items belong to whoever gets their hands on them. Bai Yue, do you think you can monopolize it? Instead of snatching a few spiritual fruits here, I might as well go to other places to see if there are any other opportunities. Don't forget, the divine son of the divine Flame Ming cult has also entered, but he is nowhere to be seen now. Bai Yue said lightly. Hearing his words, everyone frowned slightly. Indeed, Vulcan Shao had entered before them, but he had left the fruit forest in front of him. It seemed that he had gone to look for other opportunities. At the very least, it was an opportunity that was more important than this orchard. The fire god's howl had come prepared. Thinking of this, everyone was a little anxious. Let's go and take a look elsewhere. This grotto heaven is so big. A few spiritual fruits are nothing. Everyone left one by one. Bai Yue smiled at Chu Kuangren. Brother Kuangren, let's move on. There must be more opportunities of fortune ahead. Then let's go. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The Skyfire Grotto heaven was huge, and there were many fortuitous opportunities. Most of the fortuitous opportunities were protected by restrictive array formations, making it difficult to enter. However, Chu Kuangren had the little fox with him, so these restrictive spells were nothing to him. This allowed him to obtain a lot of good stuff. Beside him, Bai Yue and the others were also watching with great enthusiasm. Dao friend Chu, you've already taken so many good things. Can you share a few with us? A Bai family immortal seed said. I took it. Why should I give it to you? Fellow Daoist Chu, we've been following you for the past few days. You can't possibly not give us any benefits, right? One of the Bai clan's immortal seeds said unhappily. Upon hearing that, Chu Kuangren was amused. Excuse me, did I ask you to follow me? Don't you know how to find your own treasures? I'm not your father. Why should I give you the treasures I've obtained? Chu Kuangren knew very well why these Bai clan's immortal seeds wanted to follow him. They wanted to keep an eye on him, afraid that he would run away. The Bai clan's immortal seed was so angry that his face turned green and red. He wanted to refute, but he could not utter a single word. All right, at that moment, Bai Yue stopped the Bai clan's immortal seed and said, regarding the treasures we've obtained in the Grotto Heaven, we'll distribute them when we return. Now that we're in the Grotto Heaven, we have to work together against a common enemy. No infighting is allowed. We understand. The immortal seeds nodded. Let's go. Let's explore the path ahead, Bai Yue said, and left with the Bai clan's immortal seed. The moment he turned around, a venomous look flashed across his eyes. Chu Kuangren, I'll let you be arrogant for a few more days. Once we get out of the Grotto Heaven and return to the Bai residence, I'll make you kneel and beg for mercy. Bai Yue thought to himself, Boss, you did a great job just now. The little fox looked at Chu Kuangren with admiration. Bai Yue, Bai clan. I'd like to see how long you can hold back. Chu Kuangren rubbed his chin as he thought to himself. While the few of them were exploring the path ahead, Chu Kuangren summoned the fantasy roulette. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the Godly Medicinal Scripture, Green Capsule, Heavenly Scripture. Godly Medicinal Scripture? Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. He retrieved the reward, and an ancient, glowing golden medical scripture suddenly appeared in his hand. When the glow faded, the words Green Capsule, Heavenly Scripture appeared on its surface. Chu Kuangren flipped to the first page of the medical scripture. Suddenly, countless mysterious runes appeared in his mind, and all kinds of complicated diseases and medical techniques flashed across his mind. It was extremely mysterious. After a while, Chu Kuangren closed the medical scripture and lamented, I thought my medical skills were already at the top of this world, but now I know that there's always someone better than me. He had only taken a peek at the corner of the Green Capsule Medicinal Scripture, but it had already benefited him a lot. If he could fully master it, his medical skills would definitely increase by a few levels, and he would become a sage physician. He kept the medical scripture away, planning to slowly study it in the future when he had the time. Not long after, Bai Yue and the others returned. Brother Chu, There's a great opportunity of fortune ahead. Bayue said solemnly. Oh, tell me about it. The Skyfire Immortals treasure vault has been opened by the Flaming God's Howl, and many people are heading there now, Bayue said. The Immortals treasure vault? Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. In a majestic palace, large amounts of purplish-blue flames were burning wildly. These flames emanated an extremely terrifying temperature, and they even had a domineering aura. Various treasures were flying out of the flames. Many cultivators had already arrived from all directions. This flame, it's the Purple Heaven Radiant Flame. It's the Purple Heaven Radiant Flame that's ranked 81st on the Heavenly Divine Flame leaderboard. My goodness, why would something like this appear in the Skyfire Immortals cave abode? Hold on, who released this flame? Everyone was extremely shocked when they saw the burning purplish-blue flames. Then, they saw a red-haired figure walking towards the center of the flames while withstanding the purplish-blue flames. In the center of the flames, there was a huge furnace. Inside the furnace, a purplish-blue ball of light flickered. It was covered with mysterious Taoist patterns and emitted extremely powerful fluctuations. It's the God's Child of the Divine Flame sect. That's the seed of the Purple Heaven Radiant Flame. Everyone's pupils shrunk, and their eyes became extremely fiery. The Purple Heaven Radiant Flame was an extremely powerful divine flame. Once one refined this seed of the Purple Heaven Radiant Flame, they would be able to completely control this flame, which would greatly enhance a cultivator's combat strength. Even immortals would desire the divine flames on the Divine Flame leaderboard, let alone those who had yet to ascend into immortality. No wonder Flaming God's Howl went straight to this place the moment he entered the Skyfire Grotto. It turns out that he already knew about the seed of the Purple Heaven Radiant Flame here. The Divine Flame Ming cult specializes in controlling flames. If Flaming God's Howl gets his hands on this Purple Heaven Radiant Flame, it'll be like adding wings to a tiger. Chapter 9:30. Inside the Heavenly Fire Treasure Vault. The purple sky brilliant flame was wreaking havoc. Some treasures were swept out by the waves of fire, causing many to fight over them. But Vulcan Xiao didn't care. Right now, he only had eyes for the purple sky brilliant flame seed. The records are right. The Skyfire Taoist is an expert in alchemy, and he has a cauldron with a purple sky brilliant flame seed in it, specially used for alchemy. This is the greatest opportunity in the Heavenly Fire Grotto Heaven. If I can get this purple sky brilliant flame, my position in the church will definitely rise, surpassing the other divine sons and goddesses. It's not impossible that I'll be second only to Vulcan Flame. Vulcan Xiao thought excitedly. He activated his Emperor's Qi and used the Divine Fire Church's unique fire control technique to resist the surrounding flames and get closer to the fire seed. Outside the treasure vault, the other prodigies and immortal seeds looked at the purple sky brilliant flame seed with envy, but they couldn't get close with their current strength. Just the temperature of the flames in the periphery was not something they could resist, let alone the core of the fire seed. Only a celestial seed giant like Vulcan Xiao, who cultivated the Tao of fire and understood the origin of fire, could do this. Although I can't get the greatest opportunity, the other treasures in the Heavenly Fire Treasure Vault are not bad. Not bad. It's not a wasted trip to get these treasures. Just then, a golden elixir flew out of the flames. The elixir was suffused with immortal light, and its fragrance was refreshing. Damn, that's an immortal elixir. Although the elixir has lost much of its medicinal properties, it's still an immortal elixir. Quick, don't let anyone else get it. Seeing the elixir, some of the spectating cultivators couldn't help but rush forward to snatch it. All kinds of energy exploded, and the scene was chaotic. Get out of here! An angry roar rang out. The young city lord of ancient Sparrow City was clad in golden armor. His body shone with dazzling golden light, and his body erupted with the aura of origin. Boom! The dozens of immortal seeds around him were sent flying. What? Origin, peak great Tao Lord, and the power of origin. I didn't expect the young city lord to be a celestial seed giant. F***CK. He really hit it well. Ancient Sparrow's young city lord's eyes flickered with a shrewd light. After he had forced the rest of the people to retreat, he immediately flew towards the immortal pill. The elixir is mine. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly flashed in front of him, raised a hand, and punched his golden armor. With a bang, the young city lord of Ancient Sparrow City was sent flying. There was a hole in the golden armor on his body. His face was a little frightened. One must know that this was a heavenly Tao weapon. Punching a hole in the ground? What kind of strength was this? He looked up into the sky and saw a white-clothed figure playing with the elixir in his hand for a while before putting it into his interspatial ring. That person was Chu Kuangren. Damn, it's that guy again. Gukei's young city lord's face sank. After Chu Kuangren received the immortal pill, he swept his gaze across the rest of the treasures. Not many of them caught his attention. With a wave of his hand, he performed the space transportation technique and brought those treasures to him. Then, he put them into his interspatial ring. B*****, what are you doing? Are you trying to monopolize all the treasures? That had completely offended all the cultivators present. They could tolerate others obtaining the treasures, but they would never allow anyone to monopolize all the treasures. This guy is too overbearing. Bai Yeyue and the Bai clan's immortal seed who caught up were shocked when they saw Chu Kuangren taking away all the treasures. Especially Bai Yeyue, whose eyes were trembling. The Bai clan did indeed want to borrow the strength of Chu Kuangren and the Moonlight Fox to collect more treasures in the Sky Fire Grotto. However, there were too many of them. So many treasures were all monopolized by one person. All the immortal seeds that enter the grotto would definitely go crazy and target Chu Kuangren. Could this guy withstand everyone's anger? If he could not and was killed, then all the Bai clan's efforts would be in vain. Not only that, but to protect Chu Kuangren, the Bai clan had given the city lord's manor 20 billion spiritual marrow stones. If Chu Kuangren were to die and all the treasures were taken by others, then the Bai clan would have gone for wool and come home shorn. This idiot is too reckless. Can't he keep a lower profile? Being targeted by so many sky prides and immortal seeds, it's useless even with our help. B****, idiot, idiot, Bai Yeyue cursed Chu Kuangren in her heart. On the other hand, the little fox beside her was full of excitement. She waved her little fists and cheered for Chu Kuangren. Come on, boss. Destroy these guys. Destroy them. Bai Yeyue and the others could not help but move away from the little fox. B****. This little fox just won't let things get out of hand, right? What if it attracts the attention of others? Chu Kuangren stood in the air as the cultivators around him glared at him. The emperor's chi circulated around his body, ready to attack at any time. Those who want to fight, come at me together. I still have to collect the fire seed later. Chu Kuangren looked at the cauldron not far away. You want the fire seed? You won't get the chance. You're exaggerating. Even if you're a celestial seed leader, you're doomed against so many of us. The group of celestial seeds attacked. The first to attack was a sword cultivator. He swung the long sword in his hand at Chu Kuangren, and a dazzling sword ray shot out. This sword is so weak. Chu Kuangren casually threw a punch, shattering the sword ray and sending the sword cultivator flying thousands of meters away into a palace. A few other celestial seeds charged at him. These few celestial seeds attacked Chu Kuangren with all kinds of weapons in their hands. However, they could not even scratch his skin. Chu Kuangren raised his arm and unleashed his emperor's chi. The few celestial seeds were instantly blasted away. D***M in it. His physical body is strong. Don't fight him in close combat. Use your mystical and immortal techniques to attack from afar. The young city lord of Ancient Sparrow City said loudly. He was the first to activate his immortal technique, and a powerful surge of energy erupted from his body. When he unleashed a palm attack, a giant golden palm print appeared in the void. The Taoist patterns on it intertwined like mountains and rivers. The others also activated their own techniques. Mystic Moonblade, Sky Demonic Slash, Beast Heart Rage. Surges of powerful energy waves swept towards Chu Kuangren. Not far away, Bai Yue gulped as she watched. There are hundreds of celestial seeds attacking at the same time. Even a false immortal might not be able to withstand such power, right? However, Chu Kuangren stood still and channeled his thoughts. Then, waves of purplish-red light waves rapidly spread with him as the center. With a single thought, the heavens and earth perished. Boom, boom, boom. Immortal techniques clashed against one another. The powerful energy caused the entire grotto heaven to shake violently. Terrifying shockwaves swept across. One by one, the celestial seeds were blasted away. Some fell to the ground, covered in dirt, some vomited blood, and their auras weakened. The more serious ones exploded into a mist of blood on the spot. Hundreds of celestial seeds attacked Chu Kuangren, but they were all defeated with a single move. Chapter 9:31. Is this guy a monster? Bai Yue stared at Chu Kuangren in horror. His heart wavered a little. Was this the kind of monster that the Bai clan was after? No matter how strong he is, he's still just a celestial seed. His strength must be limited. After all, the Bai clan has a hollow immortal. Bai Yue comforted himself in his heart. The other celestial seeds that were defeated by Chu Kuangren also stared at Chu Kuangren blankly. They felt like they were dreaming. However, the pain in their bodies told them that it was the truth. Hundreds of their celestial seeds were defeated by a single person. Moreover, he did not even use his full strength. Monster! Is this guy really an outsider? How can a sky pride from an outsider be so terrifying? Isn't this guy's strength a little overpowered? Even if he's a celestial sea giant, he's still too strong. Everyone was terrified of Chu Kuangren's strength. Meanwhile, Little Fox was dancing excitedly not far away. You're amazing, boss. Chu Kuangren's figure flashed and appeared beside Little Fox. He patted her head and said, "Wait for me here." As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already in the depths of the treasure vault, where the purple heaven glorious flame was burning. He walked on foot where the purple heaven glorious flame was burning. His snow-white robe automatically blocked the flames wherever he went. Someone can get close to the purple heaven glorious flame? Vulcan Xiao, who was very close to the cauldron, sensed Chu Kuangren's approach and could not help but have a strange look in his eyes. I don't care who you are, leave immediately. Vulcan Xiao shouted coldly. I'm taking this fire seed, Chu Kuangren said calmly. How dare you? Vulcan Xiao's expression turned cold as he turned around and attacked Chu Kuangren with his palm. The golden flames turned into a huge wave of flames. Unfortunately, Vulcan Xiao was a powerful celestial sea giant with amazing strength to others. However, to Chu Kuangren, his strength was not much different from the other celestial seeds. He gently lifted his arm, and a wave of Emperor's Qi swept out. Boom! The wave of flames was shattered by the Emperor's Qi and landed on Vulcan Xiao's body. The powerful force almost made him vomit blood. So powerful, an immortal seed giant. I didn't expect there to be such a genius among the outsiders. Huishan Zhao's expression changed. Following this, he let out a deep roar and pushed the monarch Qi on his body to its limits, causing the ripples of immortal arts to burst forth. Divine Flame Heaven Fury Strike. With a roar, Vulcan Howl formed a mysterious seal with both of his hands, and a majestic wave of fire swept out from his body, turning into a flaming tornado that engulfed Chu Kuangren completely. You'll be burnt to ashes in the flames. Vulcan Xiao sneered. Your flame isn't hot enough. However, in the next moment, an indifferent voice came from the sea of fire. Then, a strange aura spread out from the flames. Within the golden flames, a golden red flame suddenly appeared. That flame flickered and instantly swallowed the surrounding golden flames. Fire deity Xiao looked as if he had seen something unbelievable. His pupils trembled violently. This aura, how is this possible? Chu Kuangren walked out from the flames. His body was surrounded by golden red flames. The golden flames released by Vulcan Howl made the surrounding purple-blue flames retreat before the golden red flames. Even the purple heaven glorious flame seed in the cauldron was inexplicably trembling. Vaguely, the silhouette of a godly phoenix could be seen circling within the golden red flames. Its terrifying aura shook the heavens and the earth. Phoenix! Phoenix flame! Impossible! How can you have the phoenix flame? How can a human master the godly phoenix flame? Vulcan Howl said in horror. The phoenix flame was a flame that only the godly phoenix could master. The phoenix flame was known as the essence of all flames, and it was ranked third on the divine flame leaderboard. It was many times more powerful than the purple heaven glorious flame. Of course, Chu Kuangren's current cultivation level was not enough to fully unleash the power of the phoenix flame to the third level of the divine flame. However, what shocked Vulcan Howl the most was that Chu Kuangren was a human. A human could master the godly phoenix flame. This was completely different from the divine flame sex records. D***, who the hell are you? Vulcan Howl questioned. I don't have to answer. Chu Kuangren gently raised his hand. A golden red phoenix flame was circulating at his fingertip. Whoosh, the golden red phoenix flame shot out. For cultivators who practiced the flame Tao, the phoenix flame had too much of a suppression on them. Vulcan Howl's expression changed as he channeled his emperor's qi to unleash a stream of flames. However, he was still easily blasted away. No, this person has the phoenix flame. With my current strength, I'm no match for him. I must leave this place as soon as possible. Vulcan Howl said with a serious expression. He let out a long roar and forcefully absorbed the scattered purple heaven glorious flame into his body. Take this divine flame clone. The purple heaven glorious flame that Vulcan had absorbed into his body gushed out and turned into a clone that attacked Chu Kuangren. In a flash, Vulcan Howl flew into the distance. Chu Kuangren enveloped his fist with the phoenix flame and punched the clone, turning it into countless sparks. Vulcan Howl had already taken the opportunity to escape. Heh, I'll let you go today. I hope you'll be able to entertain me a little. Chu Kuangren chuckled. It was not difficult for him to kill Vulcan Howl. With his current strength, even if he had 10 more Vulcan Howls would not be able to escape. However, it was pointless to kill a celestial seed that could be easily killed. Once they became stronger, they would be more valuable to Chu Kuangren, and he would be able to gain more from killing them. Then, Chu Kuangren looked at the purple heaven glorious flame seed in the cauldron and reached out to grab it. After all, this was a divine flame seed. If a cultivator who did not practice the flame Tao or did not have a unique technique, they would be burned to ashes in an instant if they tried to grab it. However, Chu Kuangren's physical body was strong, and with the protection of the phoenix flame, the purple heaven glorious flame was not much of a threat to him. He grabbed the divine flame seed and even found a few immortal pills in the cauldron. Although the medicinal effects were severely depleted, it was still a good loot. The phoenix flame has the ability to devour all other flames to strengthen itself. This divine flame is the best resource for the phoenix flame. Chu Kuangren smirked as he wrapped the divine flame around the divine flame and absorbed it into his body. Then, he continued to loot the treasure vault. Outside the treasure vault, the little fox had a panoramic view of everything that was happening in the treasure vault. As expected of a big shot, celestial seed overlords are no match for him at all. She was very excited, feeling that she had found a powerful backer. However, she did not realize that there was a pair of malicious eyes staring at her from behind, and that person was the young city lord of ancient Phoenix City. This fox must be the Moonlight Fox. That day, that person was able to bring this fox around freely in the seal. He must have borrowed the Moonlight Fox's divine ability. The young city lord of ancient Phoenix City lord's eyes flashed with passion. This fox is only a minor Taoist lord. With my strength, I can definitely subdue her in an instant. That monster is now searching for treasures in the treasure vault. As long as I'm fast enough, I can escape with this moonlight fox before he can react. Chapter 9:32. As long as I'm fast enough, I can subdue Little Fox and take her away before that monster can react. With that thought in mind, the young Phoenix City Lord made his move. His figure flashed as he flew towards the Little Fox. Little Fox noticed something too, but it was too late for her to react. The young Phoenix City Lord was already in front of her, and with both of his hands stretched out, his majestic emperor's chi made it hard for her to move. The little fox stared blankly at the malevolent-looking young city lord of ancient Sparrow City as his face gradually revealed a look of terror. "I'm about to get her!" Joy flashed across the young Phoenix City Lord's eyes. However, at that moment, a sword ray suddenly shot out from Little Fox's body. The sword ray was domineering and sharp. It was so powerful that it instantly tore apart the young Phoenix City Lord's Emperor's chi, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. How is this possible? This sword chi, sh*t run? The young Phoenix City Lord's expression changed drastically. He did not expect something like that to happen, so he immediately turned around and fled. "Do you think you can escape?" A cold voice was heard. A huge purple hand that was formed from the interweaving of Emperor Chi and Dao runes suddenly grabbed Gu Kei's young city lord, who was originally trying to escape, firmly in midair. An immortal seed giant actually didn't have the slightest bit of strength to resist. D****. Let me go. If you dare to do anything to me, the City Lord's Manor will never forgive the Bai clan. The young Phoenix City Lord shouted, trying to threaten Chu Kuangren. In his opinion, Chu Kuangren was here on behalf of the Bai clan, and the Bai clan was a force of the ancient Phoenix City, so they would definitely be wary of the City Lord's Manor. Even Bai Yue and the others could not help but be shocked. "Brother Chu, you can't kill this person." "Yes, this person is the City Lord's son. If you kill him here, it'll be hard to explain to the City Lord when we return." Bai Yue and the others tried to persuade him. However, Chu Kuangren smiled when he heard that. "Is that so? If that's the case." The young Phoenix City Lord was delighted when he heard Chu Kuangren's words. He said, "If that's the case, then quickly put me down." Boom! A violent surge of Emperor's chi swept out. The young City Lord of ancient Sparrow City was crushed into a bloody mist and exploded. "If that's the case, I'll have to kill you," Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Was there a mistake? Using the Bai family to threaten him? The battle between the City Lord's mansion and the Bai family had nothing to do with him. He was even happy to see it happen. Moreover, the young Lord of ancient Sparrow City had set his sights on the people around him. His actions had already determined that he would only be left with a dead end. "Chu Kuangren, have you lost your mind?" Bai Yue roared furiously. They had killed the young City Lord of ancient Sparrow City. This time, the City Lord's mansion would definitely not let this matter go. They were not ready to start a war with the City Lord's mansion. "Pay attention to your attitude." Chu Kuangren gave Bai Yue a sideways glance. His contemptuous attitude made Bai Yue even angrier. "You be starred. One of the Bai family's immortal seeds could not hold it in any longer than Bai Yue." He pointed at Chu Kuangren's nose and cursed. But before he could say anything else, the arm of the Bai family's immortal seed was suddenly enveloped by a terrifying force and shattered instantly. "Ah, my hand." The Bai family immortal seed knelt on the ground, his face filled with fear and pain. "I don't like it when people point their fingers at me." Chu Kuangren stared coldly at Bai Yue and the others. "To put it nicely, you guys are cooperating with me. But to put it bluntly, you guys are just using each other. So don't expect me to think too much about the Bai family." Bai Yue was so angry that his face turned green. But when he looked at the Bai family's immortal seed that was still wailing on the ground, he suddenly lost his temper and could only swallow his anger. This lunatic, he really should not be provoked. This person's actions were completely based on his preferences. He was simply unscrupulous. "Bai family, how dare you kill the young City Lord? When I return, I will definitely report this to the city lord and make the Bai family pay with their blood. One of the city lord's mansion's generals said coldly. Bai Yue's eyes flashed coldly as he said to Chu Kuangren, "Since you've already done it, let's go all out. Kill these people as well." Hey, look at what you're saying. You're making me sound like some kind of murderous demon. I've always been a fair person, and they didn't offend me. Why would I kill them? Chu Kuangren interrupted Bai Yue's words and chuckled. As he spoke, he retreated to the side. Bai Yue was so angry that he almost vomited blood. You were so decisive when you killed the immortal seed and the young city lord. Why are you acting now? However, if Chu Kuangren did not attack, he had to act. Attack, to prevent the city lord's mansion's people from reporting the Bai family. Under Bai Yue's leadership, the Bai family's immortal seed took the lead and attacked the city lord's mansion's cultivators. They wanted to kill them all. A battle broke out. Bai family, how dare you? You're rebelling. Imminent. The city lord's mansion's cultivators were shocked and angry. On the other hand, Bai Yue and the others were extremely frustrated as well. They were not the ones who killed the young city lord. Yet they had to clean up the mess for Chu Kuangren. The feeling was so frustrating that it almost made them vomit blood. However, Chu Kuangren was now representing the Bai family. Bai Yue regretted it. She should not have asked Chu Kuangren to come to the Sky Fire Grotto. She should have just killed him and taken the Moonlight Fox for herself. Chu Kuangren could not control it at all. He was a complete and utter variable. During the battle, one of the city lord's mansion's cultivators used some mysterious movement technique to break out of the encirclement and dashed into the distance. Chu Kuangren had witnessed this scene. He could have stopped it with just a thought, but he did not. All he did was watch and did not feel like the one who started it. Boss, what was that sword ray just now? The little fox was still puzzled about the young city lord's attack, but was repelled by a sword ray from her body. I left that sword ray on you to prevent anyone from harming you, Chu Kuangren said calmly. The Moonlight Fox was a powerful mutated species that was comparable to a divine beast, so it was bound to attract many people to fight for it. How could he not be on guard? Thank you so much, boss. I didn't know you were so nice to me. I'm so touched, the little fox said gratefully. After all, you're still very useful, Chu Kuangren said calmly. As he said that, he unconsciously raised his hand and touched the little fox's head. He felt that the little fox was a little too excited. The little fox's mouth twitched twice. Boss, give me back that touching feeling I had just now. All right, there are still some things that I haven't taken from the treasury. Wait here for a while, Chu Kuangren said calmly. In a flash, he entered the treasury again. This time, no one dared to touch the little fox anymore. After all, the young city lord's fate was still fresh in their minds. Not long after, Chu Kuangren came out of the treasury. He had gained quite a lot this time, so he had a happy expression on his face. Let's go. Then, he left the treasury with the little fox. Follow them. After Bai Yue and the others dealt with the people from the city lord's mansion, the little fox gritted her teeth and said as she watched Chu Kuangren leave. At this point, Chu Kuangren could not afford to have any mishaps. Otherwise, the Bai family would suffer a great loss. Chapter 9:33. Chu Kuangren and the little fox explored the Sky Fire Grotto heaven for almost 10 days. After obtaining the treasures from the Sky Fire Treasury, Chu Kuangren found something similar to an alchemy room. There, he found a large number of pill recipes and research notes, which could be considered an alchemist's inheritance. This is the biggest gain in the Sky Fire Grotto. Chu Kuangren grinned as he held a jade scroll in his hand. If he could absorb all of these pill recipes and alchemy experiences, he could very well become an alchemy immortal. He kept the items away. The Sky Fire Grotto was almost done with its exploration, so he did not stay any longer and left with the little fox. In the outside world, some strong cultivators from different forces were looking forward, hoping that their sky prides would find something good in the Sky Fire Grotto. At that moment, a figure rushed out. This person was an armored soldier. His body was covered in blood, as if he had just experienced a fierce battle. The strong cultivator from the ancient Sparrow City Lord's residence saw this, and his eyes narrowed. He then rushed forward. What's going on? The Bai family has rebelled and killed the young city lord. The soldier said. Upon hearing this, the strong cultivator from the city lord's residence looked at Elder Ancestor Bai and the others. Elder Ancestor Bai and the others were also dumbfounded. The young city lord was dead, and it was the Bai family who killed him? What was going on? Elder Ancestor Bai's expression turned gloomy. What did Bai Yue and the others do in there? Why did they kill the young city lord? They were not ready to go against the city lord's residence just yet. Wait a minute. The problem was Chu Quangren. That was right, it must be him. General, the Bai family is loyal to the city lord. The one who killed the young city lord must be that outsider. Don't worry, General, we will definitely bring this person back for the city lord to deal with. Elder Ancestor Bai quickly expressed his stance. However, the Castellan's general's expression did not change for the better. If you say you're not disloyal, then you really aren't. Elder Ancestor Bai, this matter is related to your Bai family. You'd better behave yourself and explain yourself to the Castellan. After that, he turned around and left with his people. He did not clash with the Bai family. After all, Elder Ancestor Bai was a hollow immortal. With his current abilities, he was not strong enough to deal with him. Fighting him recklessly would be disadvantageous to them. As he watched the general leave, Elder Ancestor Bai's eyes flashed with coldness. Next to him, an elder walked forward and transmitted his voice to Elder Ancestor Bai. Elder Ancestor, should we make them stay? No need. Elder Ancestor Bai pondered for a moment, then shook his head. There are too many people here. It's not a good time to start a fight. Furthermore, even if we go all out, we don't have full confidence that we can kill everyone in the Castellan's mansion. If we attack now, then it'll be the truth that the Bai family is plotting a rebellion. Although the Bai family had long wanted to rebel, now was not the time. When they return, they will report this matter to the city lord. The city lord will not let us off so easily. The elder frowned. No, there's still room for redemption. Elder Ancestor Bai replied calmly. The murderer is Chu Quangren. As long as we hand him over, we might be able to appease the city lord's anger. After all, we never intended to let this person live from the beginning. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. Whoosh! At that moment, another figure dashed out from the paradise. It was the divine flame church of enlightenment's God's son, Vulcan Shao. God's son. The God's son is out. The divine flame church of enlightenment's elders immediately went to greet him. However, they soon realized that Vulcan Zhao's expression did not look too good. Let the divine flame church of enlightenment's people seal this paradise. Once the Bai family's outsider comes out, execute him on the spot. Vulcan Zhao said coldly. He was not willing to let go of Chu Quangren's Phoenix Fire and Purple Heaven Radiant Flame, but he was no match for him. Hence, he could only rely on the people he brought this time. Hearing Vulcan Zhao's words, Elder Ancestor Bai and the others were even more confused. What? Not only did Chu Quangren kill the young city lord, but he also offended the divine flame church of enlightenment's God's son. What did he do in the heavenly fire paradise? How much trouble is this guy going to cause for the Bai family? Elder Ancestor Bai's expression was extremely ugly. Compared to the city lord's mansion, the divine flame church of enlightenment was much harder to deal with. If the divine flame church of enlightenment really wanted to deal with the Bai family would not be able to survive. Bai family, are you guys going to interfere? A peak heavenly path master elder from the divine flame church of enlightenment looked at Elder Ancestor Bai and asked. Although his cultivation level was not as high as Elder Ancestor Bai's, his tone was rather condescending because he was representing the divine flame church of enlightenment. Elder Ancestor Bai, you must be joking. Chu Quangren is just an outsider. We don't have to go against your church just because of him. Elder Ancestor Bai expressed his stance. No one knew that his heart was bleeding right now. What loss? What a huge loss. In his opinion, Chu Quangren would definitely die if he went against the divine flame church of enlightenment. His plan had completely failed. He could not get his hands on the treasures and the moonlight fox in the heavenly fire paradise. He even lost 20 billion spirit marrow stones to the city Lord Manor. He might even have to face the city lord's wrath when he returned. Very well, then back out, the Divine Flame Church's elder said indifferently. Yes. Elder Ancestor Bai's eyes flashed with unwillingness. He led the crowd away from the scene. The Divine Flame Church of Enlightenment is handling this matter. The rest of you, please leave as well. Don't worry, we won't lay our hands on the other sky prides and immortal seeds. The Divine Flame Church's elders said loudly. The strong cultivators from the various forces looked at each other. Then, for the sake of the Divine Flame Church of Enlightenment, they led their people and retreated a few hundred miles away. Soon, the Divine Flame Church's people were the only ones left around the Heavenly Fire Paradise. Looking at the Heavenly Fire Paradise's entrance, Vulcan Zhao's eyes revealed a sinister look. You're Chu Kuangren, right? I'd like to see how arrogant you can be in front of the strong cultivators of the Divine Flame Church. Not long after, one by one, the immortal seeds came out of the Heavenly Fire Paradise. Looking at the strong cultivators of the Divine Flame Church in front of them, everyone's expression changed. They did not know what was going on. Fortunately, these strong cultivators were not going to deal with them. They quickly left. However, they were too far away and were watching. From the looks of it, the Divine Flame Ming cult wants to deal with the outsider who stole the Purple Heaven Brilliant Flame. I knew that fire gods Xiao would not let this go so easily. TSK. This will be a good show. That person may be a powerful immortal seed cultivator, but facing so many strong cultivators of the Divine Flame Church, even he won't be a match. It's a shame that such a great cultivator is going to fall. Serves him right. It's his fault for being so arrogant. That's right, he took so many treasures, but now it's all going to be given to someone else. Besides, he can only blame himself for being an outsider. Without any backing in the immortal realm, how is he going to fight Vulcan Xiao? The crowd discussed among themselves. Not long after, more than 10 people slowly walked out of the Heavenly Fire Paradise. They were the Bai family's immortal seeds. Upon seeing them, the strong cultivators of the Divine Flame Church immediately moved and surrounded them. Their powerful auras instantly erupted. What's going on? Bai Yue gulped, her face filled with horror. People of the Bai family, we're only dealing with Chu Kuangren. If you don't want to die, leave now. Vulcan Xiao said coldly. Chapter 934. People of the Bai family, leave now if you don't want to die. Vulcan Xiao said coldly. The Divine Flame Church's cultivators behind him looked at him coldly as well. Bai Yue and the others were shocked by the scene. They did not dare to stay any longer and quickly left. There was no hesitation at all. These people are so shameless. Even the elder master of the Bai family is nowhere to be seen. Little Fox said angrily. Chu Kuangren was not surprised by the situation. He patted Little Fox's head. Why? Don't you want to escape? No way. I want to stay with the big boss. Little Fox said firmly. Although she was surrounded by the Divine Flame Church's cultivators, she had no intention of leaving. She was now confident in Chu Kuangren. Little Fox, you know what to do. He looked at the so-called cultivators of the Divine Flame Church before him. These people are no threat to me. The Divine Flame Church's cultivators' faces darkened when they heard that. Arrogant. How dare you speak so arrogantly in front of us? You must be tired of living. There's no need for more words. Execute him on the spot. One of the Divine Flame Church's cultivators immediately attacked. Golden flames surged on his body and turned into a giant golden flaming fist. That attack was at the level of a heavenly lord, and there were at least 10 heavenly lords standing in front of Chu Kuangren. You guys are playing with fire, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The phoenix fire on his body instantly erupted. The golden red flames roared out, and a godly phoenix shadow hovered in the flames. The golden flaming fist was engulfed by the phoenix fire and was instantly burned away. That scene stunned many of the Divine Flame Church's cultivators. That's the phoenix fire. This person can really use the phoenix fire. D*M in it. What's going on? How can a human control the phoenix fire? How'd he do it? They had heard from Vulcan Shao that Chu Kuangren could control the phoenix fire. However, they were still shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. One had to know. From what they knew, the phoenix fire could not be controlled by a human. Chu Kuangren's existence had shattered their worldview. 10,000 deity calamity, fire lotus. Chu Kuangren lifted his finger and pointed. A golden-red fiery lotus circled in the air. The combination of an immortal technique and the phoenix flames, coupled with Chu Kuangren's realm as a heavenly Taoist master, had resulted in an incredibly powerful attack. The fire lotus exploded, turning into a wave of fire that engulfed the world. The terrifying power completely engulfed the few Heaven Law Lords. They screamed in pain, and in just a few breaths they were burned to ashes. Not good. The phoenix flames are suppressing us too much. Moreover, this person's cultivation base is that of a lord of the Heaven Tao. We can't fight him at the same cultivation level. I'm afraid this person's battle prowess isn't that of a simple immortal seed giant. It's very possible that he's an immortal seed monarch. The Divine Flame Ming cult's strong cultivators were overwhelmed with shock. Even Vulcan Shao did not expect Chu Kuangren to unleash such a level of combat strength. Immortal Seed Monarch. Even the Divine Flame sect only had one immortal seed at that level. No, in the entire Qinglan immortal world, there were very few people among the younger generation who could reach the level of king of celestial seeds. But now, they had actually encountered one. All of you step down. Let me do it. At that moment, an elder walked out. His body was surrounded by an origin energy that combined with the Emperor's chi, and his illusory, immortal strength erupted. He was also the leader of the Divine Flame sect. It's the 17th Elder. The 17th Elder is a illusory immortal with powerful combat strength. Even Chu Kuangren might not be a match for him. This is great. Everyone felt relieved. The 17th Elder waved his sleeves, and the majestic Emperor's chi combined with the origin energy formed the illusory, immortal strength that blew away the surrounding phoenix flames. Chu Kuangren smirked. Isn't it just a few surges of origin energy? You make it sound like no one has any. He gently raised his hand. Suddenly, rays of light bloomed from within his body. Surges of origin energy surged out one after another, and an overbearing energy fluctuation spread. Lunar radiance origin, flame origin, physical origin, a total of 7 surges of origin energy appeared. All the cultivators who witnessed this scene were dumbfounded. 7 different types of origin energy? How is this possible? The 7 types of origin energy shone brightly upon the world. How is this possible? Who are you? The Divine Flame sect's illusory immortal was a little confused. 7 different types of origin energy. How could someone do something like this? The one who will kill you. Chu Kuangren did not waste any time and immediately unleashed a punch. With a bang, the void space exploded and a majestic force swept out along with layers of airwaves, smashing towards the false immortal. This power, not good. The illusory immortal's expression changed, and he then channeled his illusory immortal strength to its limit. With a low growl, he too unleashed a punch. A firestorm erupted. However, with a loud explosion, the illusory immortal's flame was instantly blasted into countless shattered stars, and the illusory immortal was blasted away. The Divine Flame sect's illusory immortal is nothing more than this, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then, he raised his hand and gathered the phoenix flames. A golden-red fire lotus shone out, and it once again flew towards the illusory immortal. D*M in it. The illusory immortal channeled his immortal technique, and the sky was filled with flames. However, he was still suppressed. Once again, he was blasted away. The experts of the Divine Fire Ming cult were dumbfounded at the sight. A celestial seed ruler. This is definitely a celestial seed ruler. What monster? Not far away, Vulcan Zhao's expression changed. Everyone attacked together. I don't believe that we're no match for him, even if we attack together. No one dared to disobey the divine child's order. As everyone attacked together, all kinds of flames burned in the void, and the surroundings seemed to have turned into an endless sea of fire. While everyone was attacking, the divine child, Vulcan Shao, quietly retreated and turned into a stream of light that flew into the distance. The sea of fire shrouded the heavens and earth, illuminating everything within 1,000,000 kilometers. The rivers dried up and the ground cracked. Chu Kuangren, who was in the middle of the sea of fire, looked calm. On the other hand, the little fox beside him was flushed red from the heat and was drenched in sweat. It's so hot, so hot. However, that was just the residual heat. If Chu Kuangren had not used his Emperor's Qi to isolate the flames, the little fox would have been roasted instead of feeling hot. Don't worry, it'll cool down soon. With a thought, Chu Kuangren channeled his Emperor's Qi and mind power to their limits, and the lunar immortal physique was activated as well. An extremely powerful chill instantly erupted, and like a raging wave, it instantly froze the surroundings. With a single thought, thousands of rivers froze over. The sea of fire around them was extinguished by the chill. Not only that, but some heavenly Dao masters who could not dodge in time were enveloped by the chill and turned into ice sculptures in the blink of an eye. Even the heavenly immortals had half of their bodies frozen. Their faces were pale, their bodies trembled, and their eyes were filled with fear. This aura, it's the immortal physique, and the phoenix flames. I can't believe you can combine fire and chill into your body. The immortal physique's chill, the godly phoenix's flames, and the fact that Chu Kuangren was already a heavenly Dao master at such a young age. Any one of these was enough to make him a celestial seed overlord. But Chu Kuangren could combine all three of them. In addition to the 7 origin energies, his combat strength was even more unfathomable. Apart from immortals, even a heavenly immortal would not be able to withstand Chu Kuangren's attacks for long if he went all out. Chapter 9:35. It's so cold. The little fox shuddered beside Chu Kuangren. What the hell is this? It's cold one moment and hot the next. The little fox muttered. Meanwhile, after Chu Kuangren unleashed his immortal physique's frost chi, he took advantage of the illusory immortal's frozen body to appear in front of him and flash. In an instant, a dazzling sword ray exploded. The sword ray sliced through the illusory immortal's neck in an instant, and blood splattered everywhere. That illusory immortal was dead. After killing the illusory immortal, the remaining divine flame church's strong cultivators either fled or scattered, not daring to fight Chu Kuangren anymore. Not only that, but they also realized that the godchild, Vulcan Shao, who had called for them to attack together, had long escaped. So this is the godchild? F*CK this godchild. D*M in it, this godchild ran too fast. He treated us as cannon fodder, but he ran away quickly. This monster. Even a celestial seed ruler would find it difficult to kill an illusory immortal, but he did it so easily. This person is definitely not a simple celestial seed ruler. Run. How can there be such a sky pride among the outsiders? All the strong cultivators fled in fear. Chu Kuangren did not chase after them. To him, killing these people did not bring him any value, so it did not matter to him whether he killed them or not. He walked up to the illusory immortal and took his yin and yang ring. Then, he retracted his origin energy. The little fox walked up to him with stars in her eyes. She said in admiration, "Boss, you're so powerful. You can even kill an illusory immortal. Are you going to become an immortal soon?" Become an immortal? Chu Kuangren had a strange look in his eyes. In fact, it was much harder for him to become an immortal compared to other celestial seeds. The other celestial seeds all had their own corresponding origins. Chu Kuangren's Dao, on the other hand, did not. If he wanted to continue on his own Dao, he would have to create his own origin energy. That was many times harder than becoming an immortal. Since ancient times, No one had ever heard of anyone who could create their own origin energy. I will, Chu Kuangren said. No matter how difficult the path was, it would never shake his Taoist core. I will. The little fox tilted its head in confusion. She asked if he was going to become an immortal soon, but Chu Kuangren answered that he would. That didn't seem to make sense. However, she did not dwell on it. Instead, she tugged at Chu Kuangren's wide sleeves. Boss, where are we going now? Chu Kuangren smirked. Someone will come looking for us. True enough. Not long after, Elder Ancestor Bai brought his people to look for him. Little friend Chu, I didn't expect your strength to be so shocking. It's really admirable. Elder Ancestor Bai laughed. How dare you, Bai clan? You actually dare to come here now. You're too shameless. When Little Fox saw the people from the Bai family, she was so angry that her face turned red. She gritted her teeth, and the anger in her eyes was almost overflowing. However, she was really cute. Even if she was incomparably angry now, she still couldn't pose much of a threat when she was angry. Chu Kuangren reached out and caressed her head. Quiet. The little fox gradually calmed down, but it still had a fuming look on its face. However, under Chu Kuangren's touch, it gradually narrowed its eyes. The big boss's palm is so warm. Brother Chu, I'm really ashamed. Elder Ancestor Bai looked ashamed as he said, the Bai clan can't compare to the Divine Flame Church's strength. If they want to go against you, we can't stop them even if we want to. Moreover, they even threaten to destroy the Bai clan if we help you. For the sake of the Bai clan's safety, I had no choice but to do this. He said it with sincerity, but his tone was mixed with guilt and helplessness. Little Fox was a little surprised to see him like this. Could it be that the Bai clan really had no choice but to help their boss? That guilty look on his face looked so real. TSK, not bad at all. Chu Kuangren sighed in his heart. He then said, I understand the Bai clan's difficulties. You don't have to feel guilty. Put your act away. He had goosebumps all over his body. Brother Chu, it's great that you understand us. Don't worry, I'll definitely make it up to you when we return. How about this? We'll change the original 73 to 82. Take it as a token of our apology. What do you think? Elder Ancestor Bai said sincerely. Then I'll thank you in advance. It's only right, Elder Ancestor Bai said. After that, everyone returned to the Bai clan. Along the way, Elder Ancestor Bai Yue, and the others agreed to all of Chu Kuangren's requests. They acted as if they were feeling guilty and wanted to make it up to him, which made them look like best actor. Even Chu Kuangren felt like giving them an award when he saw it. Boss, the Bai clan doesn't seem to be as bad as we thought. Do they really feel sorry for us? Little Fox asked secretly one night. Chu Kuangren sat with his legs crossed and said, Little Fox, you've been staying in the clan for the past few hundred years, haven't you? Little Fox nodded. Boss, how did you know? Just look at your stupid face. You should know that humans are better at pretending than any other animal. Chu Kuangren said. Ah, pretending? That's too good of an act. The little fox had a look of utter shock on her face. Life is like a play. It's all about acting. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then, he closed his eyes and began to use the phoenix fire to refine the purplish heaven radiant flame seed that he had just obtained. Once he consumed the radiant heaven radiant flame seed, he would be able to unleash more of the phoenix fire's power. Perhaps it could become a new trump card. How many trump cards did he have now? Other than himself, no one else knew about it. Little Fox watched Chu Kuangren close his eyes and cultivate. She no longer thought about the Bai clan and turned into a pinkish-white fox. She stepped lightly into Chu Kuangren's bed. The human world was too dangerous. It was safer to stay with the boss. Speaking of which, the boss was a human too, right? No, the boss was different. Little Fox stared at Chu Kuangren's face with a dazed look. The boss was so much better looking than other humans. 3 days later, Chu Kuangren had completely refined the purplish heaven radiant flame seed, and the power of the phoenix fire had increased to another level. Now, I don't need any other techniques. Just this phoenix fire alone is enough to fight a false immortal. A golden red flame flickered on the tip of Chu Kuangren's finger. Under the illumination of the flame, he smirked. That was only a portion of the loot from the heavenly fire grotto. There were still other things that he had yet to digest, such as the large amount of spirit fruits, immortal pills, pill recipes, and alchemy books. Boss, you're done with your cultivation. Little Fox stretched lazily beside him and said. She had been guarding Chu Quangren for the past few days. There were a few times when the Bai clan came to look for Chu Quangren, but she had always sent them away. Little Fox, this is for you. Chu Quangren took out an immortal pill and tossed it to her. This is an immortal pill. Little Fox's eyes widened. For me, although the immortal pill's medicinal effects had diminished a lot in the heavenly fire grotto, it was still an immortal pill with powerful effects. This immortal pill in Little Fox's hand was enough for her to break through to the great Taoist Lord level. Yes, you've contributed a lot in the heavenly fire grotto. You deserve this pill, Chu Quangren said. Thank you, boss. Chapter 9:36. Ancient Sparrow City. In the City Lord's residence, the ancient Sparrow City Lord's face was as gloomy as water. Below him were a few generals who had just returned from the Divine Fire Grotto. He already knew about the death of the ancient Sparrow City Lord. The Bai clan, you're all asking for it. The ancient Sparrow City Lord's face was extremely gloomy. He stood up and unleashed his illusory, immortal aura, enveloping the entire area. Summon the troops. I want to personally attack the Bai clan. Upon hearing his words, the generals below him nodded. Yes. Suddenly, a white ray of light flew towards them. That white ray of light was a paper crane. The ancient Sparrow City Lord frowned. This paper crane is the Bai clan's communication technique. What else do they have to say? He opened the paper crane. A few lines of words appear before him. Oh, the Bai clan's elder ancestor asked me to calm down and give me an explanation. He wants to kill Chu Quangren, and he'll offer immortal pills as compensation. The ancient Sparrow City Lord pondered after reading the words on the paper crane. The generals beside him looked at each other. City Lord, do we still send troops? Send someone to monitor the Bai clan's movements. The ancient Sparrow City Lord said. All right, Elder Ancestor Bai, I don't care what tricks you're playing. You've killed my son, so I won't let this matter rest. 7 days later, the Bai clan's elder ancestor had brought Chu Quangren back to the Bai clan. As soon as he stepped into the Bai clan's residence, Chu Quangren felt a strange aura surrounding him. He smirked and said to the little fox beside him, No matter what happens, stay by my side and don't leave. The little fox nodded. Soon, they arrived at the Bai clan's inner hall. Other than the Bai clan's elder ancestor, Baiyiwa, and 2 other respected elders, there seemed to be no one else. Brother Chu, can you please distribute the treasures you obtained in the heavenly fire grotto heaven now? The Bai clan's elder ancestor chuckled. Here? Yes, don't worry. We'll do as we said before. You get 80% and I get 20%. I won't ask for more from you, elder ancestor Bai said. I'm not worried about that. It's just that money moves people's hearts. With so many people gathered here, what if some people can't control themselves and try to snatch it? These words made the 2 elders of the Bai family very unhappy. One of them said, Fellow Taoist Chu, are you saying that we can't control ourselves? You're underestimating us too much. You can, but what about them? Chu Quangren looked at the void behind a few of them and said, Including the lot of you, the 72 Bai family Taoist masters who are currently in the inner hall, are all of you going to hold back and not try to snatch it from me? Hearing his words, everyone's expression changed instantly, especially Elder Ancestor Bai. Now, under Elder Ancestor Bai's command, he and the others immediately retreated. Suddenly, countless Taoist patterns swirled behind them and formed into a dense net, trapping Chu Quangren and the little fox within it. I didn't expect to be discovered. This person's perception is not to be underestimated. Fortunately, we managed to capture him. The 2 elders of the Bai family said in relief. Chu Quangren, on the other hand, could not help but chuckle as he looked at the golden net that was formed by Taoist patterns. Oh, a Taoist weapon that's specifically used to restrain people, and a top-notch heavenly weapon at that. What a rare item. Chu Kuangren, now that you've been sealed by us, let's see what else you can do. Bai Yeus sneered. Sealed? With this Taoist weapon? Chu Kuangren, don't try to bluff. This Sky Luo golden net is a top-notch heavenly weapon. Even a hollow immortal can't escape from it. You may be strong, but it's not easy for you to escape. Bai Yeus sneered. Chu Kuangren, I'll give you a chance now. Kneel and beg for mercy, and we may spare your life. These days, they have been suppressed by Chu Kuangren too much. They could not beat him in a fight, nor could they scold him. Moreover, Chu Kuangren's arrogant and condescending attitude made them even angrier. However, they still had to greet him with a smile, afraid that they would expose their purpose and alert Chu Kuangren. Now that they saw that Chu Kuangren was trapped, Bai Yue and the others could not wait to see Chu Kuangren suffer. That's right, Chu Kuangren. Kneel and beg for mercy. As long as you call us Grandpa twice, our Bai family may spare your life and reward you with some food. Haha, Chu Kuangren, this is what you get. Chu Kuangren's expression was calm as he listened to the mockery that seemed like they were venting their anger. He looked at the crowd as if they were a bunch of clowns. Along the way, all of you have been bowing and scraping to me, looking so pitiful. It's a big difference from how you look right now. Chu Kuangren said, D*M in it. That's all to lower your guard. How dare you bring this up again? B** starred. I'll cut you into pieces later to vent my anger. Bai Yue and the others became even more furious when they heard Chu Kuangren mention the things that happened along the way. Kill me? I really don't know where you get your confidence from. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then, the descendant self-sword at his waist was unsheathed. The white, jade-like sword blade slashed across the void, and surges of purple sword chi swept across like a raging wave in all directions. The golden net was stirred up by the sword chi, and it constantly shook. It's useless. You can't break it, Bai Yue said. Is that so? Chu Kuangren chuckled as the origin energy within his body gushed out. With the support of 7 origin energies, the sword chi's power was greatly enhanced, and the golden net was instantly torn into countless pieces. The remnant sword chi swept out like a gust of wind, and a few Bai family disciples who were closer to the sword chi were torn in half on the spot. Oh no, retreat. The Bai family's elder pulled Bai Yue away. At the same time, he channeled his emperor's chi to defend against the rampaging sword chi. As the sword chi swept across, the entire Bai residence shook. The ground, the pavilions, the stone mountains. Everything was left with crisscrossed sword marks. In the blink of an eye, not a single part of the Bai residence was left unscathed. The number of dead and injured was uncountable. One by one, they lay on the ground, wailing in pain. Chu Kuangren stood where he was with the descendant's self-sword in his hand. His robe was as white as snow, and he was indifferent to the tragic scene around him. He said, Since the Bai family can't help but attack me, then I'll have to invite you to your deaths outside the Bai residence. Groups of soldiers had already begun to move. Under the leadership of the Tao Lord, they surrounded the Bai residence so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Meanwhile, in the sky, a pair of cold eyes was staring at the situation inside the Bai residence. That person was the ancient Sparrow City Lord. City Lord, the Bai family has made their move. It looks like they're really going to kill Chu Kuangren. They're here to apologize to you. A general said, Apologize to me? Are you kidding me? They're obviously trying to get rid of Chu Kuangren after he's done with him. No wonder the Bai family's elder wanted to protect this person. It turns out that this person has a Moonlight Fox by his side. He's planning to use this person and the Moonlight Fox's power to obtain the most opportunities of fortune and treasures in the Divine Fire Grotto. After seeing the Moonlight Fox, the ancient Sparrow City Lord could more or less guess the Bai family's elder's plan, and he sneered. City Lord, that outsider's strength is not ordinary. It looks like he's not an ordinary celestial seed cultivator. The Bai family seems to be at a disadvantage. Don't worry, the Bai family has more than this. We'll just watch from the sidelines and reap the benefits. Chapter 9:37. Inside the Bai residence. Chu Kuangren wielded his descendant self-sword and unleashed his sword chi, cutting the golden net into pieces and leaving a trail of sword marks on the ground. Dozens of Bai clan disciples lay in a pool of blood, wailing in pain. The Bai clan's elder ancestor's expression turned grim when he saw that. I can't believe that even the soaring golden net can't trap this person. Get into formation, the Bai clan's elder ancestor said coldly. All of a sudden, the Bai clan's 72 Taoist masters soared into the sky. Countless Taoist patterns circulated in the void, forming into 72 vortexes that emanated extremely powerful fluctuations. Oh, a joint attack formation. A powerful joint attack formation that combines the power of all 72 Taoist masters. The corner of Chu Kuangren's lips curled up as he smiled gently. Humph, Chu Kuangren, this is the Bai clan's true power, the 72 ferocious formation. This formation can unleash the full potential of our power. Even if you can kill a false immortal, you're no match for this formation. The Bai clan's elder ancestor said coldly. This was the Bai clan's greatest trump card. He knew that Chu Kuangren was powerful enough to kill a false immortal. That was why he did not make a move in the Sky Fire Grotto. Instead, he sent a message back to the Bai clan to gather the Taoist masters to prepare the soaring golden net and the 72 ferocious formation. It was all for the sake of focusing their power on Chu Kuangren. With the combined strength of all 72 Taoist masters, your death is certain. Only the weak need the advantage of numbers to gather their power. The strong, on the other hand, can break through all techniques. Not to mention the 72 of you. Even if there are 700 of you, what's there to fear? Chu Kuangren chuckled. His body was surrounded by the power of origin energy and his celestial radiance. You flatter me. The Bai clan's elder ancestor snorted as he channeled the formation's power. Emperor's chi continuously surged out from the 72 vortexes and combined with the Taoist patterns to form a gigantic golden hand that covered the sky and smashed down from the sky. Chu Kuangren raised his sword and slashed. The sword chi collided with the gigantic golden hand, causing the entire Bai residence to tremble and ripples to form in the void. After the impact, the ground around Chu Kuangren had sunk a few hundred feet deep, and cracks spread out like a spider web. The entire Bai family was almost torn apart. One had to know that the Bai clan's buildings and land were reinforced by the Tao patterns, making them extremely sturdy. Even a Tao lord would not be able to damage them too much. However, the impact this time had destroyed more than half of the Bai family's buildings, and the ground had caved in. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the impact was. In the universe, it was enough to destroy several planets. Such a huge commotion naturally attracted the attention of all the experts in the ancient Sparrow City. One by one, their monarch senses surged out and spied on the Bai clan. When they saw the tragic state of the Bai family, they couldn't help but swallow their saliva. F***CK who is causing trouble in the Bai clan. Hold on a second. Look at that vortex in the air. Don't tell me that's the legendary Bai clan's most powerful reserve power, the 72 Earthly Fiends Grand Formation. Oh my god, the 72 Earth Killing Formation? Hiss! Isn't that the legendary Peerless Immortal Array? How could the Bai family have it? The Bai clan's 72 Earthly Fiend Formation is only a simplified version, and it's far inferior to the real 72 Earthly Fiend Immortal Formation. However, it's still extraordinary, and it requires 72 Tao Lords to join forces to execute it. Exactly who is it that actually made the Bai clan use such a formation to deal with it? The cultivators of the ancient Sparrow City were extremely shocked. Not long after, they noticed Chu Kuangren, who was facing off against the Bai clan's elder ancestor. This is the outsider that the Bai clan's elder ancestor protected. Why are they fighting now? I knew the Bai clan wouldn't do good. I guess they're eyeing something on this person. F***CK 7 surges of origin energy with different elemental attributes. Where did this monster come from? A celestial seed king? Everyone's monarch senses converged in the void, and they could not help but exclaim when they sensed Chu Kuangren's aura. Inside the Bai clan's residence, after Chu Kuangren unleashed a sword attack to counter the formation, the ground around him instantly exploded. However, the area of 10 feet around him was not damaged at all. It was like an inviolable, absolute territory. Beside him, the little fox's body was almost glued to Chu Kuangren. She remembered his words and did not dare to move half a step away. Chu Kuangren, I'm already surprised that you're able to block an attack from the earthly fiend formation. However, let me tell you, that attack just now was not the full power of the earthly fiend formation. The Bai clan's elder ancestor sneered and continued to activate the formation. Even more terrifying energy was accumulating, and the entire ancient Sparrow City trembled. That wasn't the full power of your formation, but how do you know that's my full power? Chu Kuangren chuckled. In the next instant, the Emperor's chi on his body boiled, and 2 rays of light shot out and turned into 2 technique validation seals. With the appearance of the technique validation seal, Chu Kuangren's combat strength rose to another level. He let out a low growl, and an Emperor's avatar appeared behind him. Thousands of golden sword chi swirled in the avatar's palm before they turned into a golden sword shadow and slashed out. The Honorable Emperor's sword art, sole dominator of the universe. The Bai clan's elder ancestor's expression changed, and his body trembled when he saw the sword attack that was powered by the origin energy and the technique validation seal. You're still hiding your strength? The Bai clan's elder ancestor let out a strange cry before he pushed the earthly fiend formation's power to its limit and unleashed a punch at the golden sword shadow. The power of the 72 Bai clan's cultivators erupted and collided with Chu Kuangren's golden sword shadow. Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, the entire Bai clan's residence almost collapsed. The terrifying shock wave spread, and the earthly fiend formation and Chu Kuangren bore the brunt of it. Chu Kuangren shielded the little fox behind him and channeled his Emperor's chi to form a protective barrier to block the impact. Even if he could not block it, he would still use his powerful physical body to block it. However, the Bai clan's elder ancestor and the others did not have such abilities. Under the powerful impact, the entire earthly fiend formation shook violently, and with a loud bang, the entire formation collapsed. The Bai clan's elder ancestor and the others suffered the backlash of the formation and were sent flying. Those with lower cultivation levels even exploded into a mist of blood on the spot. How is this possible? Just how powerful is this guy? The Bai clan's elder ancestor was in disbelief. He looked at the unharmed Chu Kuangren and felt a sense of fear. If this continued, the Bai clan would be destroyed. No, the Bai clan cannot be destroyed in my hands. The Bai clan's elder ancestor's expression changed as he shouted into the distance. City Lord, this is the person who killed the young City Lord. What are you waiting for? He could sense that the ancient Sparrow City Lord and the others were gathered nearby. This is between you and the outsider. We'll talk about my son after we're done with you. The ancient Sparrow City Lord snorted. He had already made up his mind to sit on the sidelines and wait until Chu Kuangren and the Bai clan were both injured before he reaped the benefits. It seems like this outsider has the upper hand. Perhaps we can use him to destroy the Bai clan. When that time comes, I'll kill him and avenge my son, the ancient Sparrow City Lord said coldly. The Bai clan's elder ancestor's heart sank as he looked at the approaching Chu Kuangren. He gritted his teeth and said, City Lord, this person has many treasures from the heavenly fire grotto. If you kill him, all of them will be yours. The Bai clan is willing to assist you. Not only that, but from now on, the Bai clan will be loyal to the City Lord's manor. We'll dedicate all of our Bai clan's assets and resources to the City Lord's manor. The Bai clan's elder ancestors' words caused an uproar among the spectators. Chapter 9:38. Give all of the Bai clan's assets and resources to the city hall? F***ck me. This elder ancestor of the Bai clan has been forced into a corner. He can't believe he can make such a request. Everyone was amazed. Meanwhile, the ancient Sparrow City Lord's eyes lit up. Although he could destroy the Bai clan, he could still take over their assets and resources. However, it would be very difficult to manage them. The current assets of the city hall were enough to keep him busy. However, if he could gain control of these assets and completely subjugate the Bai clan, it would be much more valuable than destroying the Bai clan. The ancient Sparrow City Lord was tempted. Moreover, Chu Kuangren's combat strength was very strong. If he destroyed the Bai clan, would he be able to stop him? Far away, inside a certain restaurant, all the cultivators had noticed the commotion in the Bai clan. They were extremely shocked and ran out to see what was going on. Only an old man was drinking from a wine jar. It was the former Sword Crown. He burped and said, "Bai clan, you've really offended a powerful person. As for the ancient Sparrow City Lord, I hope you'll make the right choice. Otherwise, what awaits you is a nightmare. All right, since the Bai clan is so sincere, I'll promise you that I'll deal with this outsider who killed my son first." The ancient Sparrow City Lord made his decision. He looked at Chu Kuangren with a cold, murderous intent in his eyes. A golden spear appeared in his hand. There were Taoist patterns on the spear, and it exuded an extremely domineering aura. His pseudo-immortal strength also erupted. "Soldiers, listen up. Kill the outsiders." The ancient Sparrow City Lord shouted. "Kill, kill." War cries filled the air as hundreds of thousands of soldiers surrounded Chu Kuangren. Very well. Chu Kuangren was not afraid as he looked at the hundreds of thousands of soldiers surrounding him. Instead, he laughed. "I'll take care of them all at once. It'll save me some trouble in the future." He turned the sword in his hand and slashed out. Majestic sword chi gushed out like a torrent into the army. In an instant, tens of thousands of soldiers exploded into a mist of blood. Then he took out the purple fairy bow. He pulled the bowstring, and the Emperor's chi circulated. A powerful immortal technique erupted, and an arrow was shot out, transforming into the image of the divine beast, the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird circled, and thousands of fiery feathers rained down like a storm. Thousands of fire feathers and thousands of arrows. Another large group of soldiers fell. Not only that, but the arrow was formed from phoenix fire. Wherever the phoenix fire went, it burned the void. The Emperor's aura instantly turned the surroundings into a sea of fire. Those with low cultivation who touched the phoenix fire were turned to ashes on the spot. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of thousands of soldiers had suffered heavy casualties. As for the ancient Sparrow City Lord and the other high-ranking military officers, they didn't even have time to react. When they saw this scene, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. These were the elite troops of the City Lord Mansion. They had spent a lot of resources to nurture this army. Yet now, they were being massacred by Chu Kuangren. Their hearts were even dripping blood. The surrounding cultivators were also trembling with fear. It's too terrifying. This outsider is too terrifying. He actually controls such a large-scale offensive celestial technique. That's not all. That's Phoenix Fire. Flames are suited for killing on a large scale in the first place, let alone the Phoenix Fire of an exalt of flames. In addition to that immortal art of the Tao of archery. TSK. What a surprise. The City Lord is probably going to be pissed off. Just as Chu Kuangren was massacring the soldiers, the ancient Sparrow City Lord could no longer sit still. He wielded his spear and charged towards Chu Kuangren. Not only that, but the high-ranking military officers of the City Lord Mansion also made their move. Naturally, the Bai family's elder was not idle either. Chu Kuangren had forced him to this point. Out of everyone present, he hated Chu Kuangren the most. In fact, he hated him even more than the ancient Sparrow City Lord who had killed Chu Kuangren's son. The Bai family's Taoist master, the City Lord Mansion's Taoist master, and the two false immortals, the Bai family's elder and the City Lord, all attacked Chu Kuangren at the same time. The little fox behind Chu Kuangren was so scared that she was trembling. Don't worry, I'm here. Chu Kuangren's voice rang in her ears. Miraculously, the fear in her heart had been dispelled. All sorts of attacks whizzed towards Chu Kuangren, each of them extremely powerful. Faced with such a scene, Chu Kuangren slowly closed his eyes. In an instant, the little fox felt that the noises of attacks and screams around her had all disappeared. At that moment, the world became extremely silent. The next moment, Chu Kuangren opened his eyes. It was a pair of emotionless eyes that were filled with boundless might. The moment he opened his eyes, every living being held their breaths. Meanwhile, the ancient Sparrow City Lord, the Bai family's elder, and the others who were attacking Chu Kuangren seemed to have sensed something, and their eyes were filled with fear. It was as if they wanted to hide, but it was too late. With a single thought, all sound will be silenced, and the world will die. An emotionless voice was heard. Chu Kuangren's emperor's qi and mind power were unleashed to their limits. Not only that, but his immortal physique's frost qi and godly phoenix flames were also integrated into this technique. With the support of the origin energy, the heavenly Tao energy, and the technique validation seal, it turned into circles of purplish-red light waves that spread out. Wherever the light waves passed, the world lost its color, and the sun and moon lost their luster. The world trembled, and the heavenly earthly realm was overturned. Even the Taoist master was vulnerable to this attack. As soon as he came into contact with the light waves, he was easily crushed into a mist of blood. If the Taoist master was already in such a state, what about the others? The Bai family's disciples, the City Lord Mansion soldiers, and countless others perished under the purplish-red light waves. Their lives seemed insignificant at that moment. No. The Bai family's immortal seed, Bai Yue, looked at the approaching purplish-red light waves and used all her might to defend herself. However, it was still useless. After the light waves passed, Bai Yue turned into a mist of blood, just like everyone else. In the face of this power, an immortal seed was no different from a blade of grass. The purplish-red light waves only wreaked havoc for a few breaths' time, but those few breaths' time felt like a century had passed. It was too terrifying. That kind of power shocked everyone. Today, the Bai residents had completely disappeared. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers and the Bai family's disciples were gone too. There was not a single complete corpse that could be found at the scene. Under that power, most of them turned into a mist of blood. The only thing left in the air was the thick smell of blood. Amidst that mist of blood, a peerless figure in a snow-white robe stood. Even though he was in purgatory, he still looked otherworldly. Monster, how can there be an immortal seed like you? Don't tell me you've already started on the path of immortal ascension. Amidst the broken limbs, the ancient Sparrow City Lord and the Bai family's elder ancestor were still alive. They looked at Chu Kuangren in horror. They were scared to the point of insanity. Chu Kuangren had killed so many experts with a single move. It would be fine if his opponent was an immortal, but he was just an immortal seed, and a ridiculously young immortal seed at that. How is this possible? Why, a monster? Upon hearing their words, Chu Kuangren retracted his heavenly energy and chuckled. How can you see the power of the heavens from the bottom of a well? Not to mention the outer heaven. With a flick of his sleeves, the golden-red phoenix flame whizzed out and instantly burned away the stench of blood on the scene. The ancient Sparrow City Lord and the Bai family's elder ancestor were also engulfed by the phoenix flame, and they died not long after. Chapter 9:39. Ancient Sparrow City Lord's Residence by Clan. Two great forces had joined forces to deal with Chu Kuangren, but Chu Kuangren had wiped them out with a single move. With that, the two great forces were no more. It was foreseeable that there would be a storm of power struggles in ancient Sparrow City. All the great forces would fight each other for the leadership of ancient Sparrow City. However, none of that had anything to do with Chu Kuangren. He searched the Bai clan's residence, found some treasures, and left. Along the way, countless forces dared not stop him. This outsider is too scary. Although he's strong, The commotion he caused this time is not small either. The people of Sage City will not let him go. In the Qinglan immortal world, there aren't many people who can offend the holy city and survive unscathed. I'm afraid this person will face endless pursuit. Even if he's a king of immortal seeds, he will still die, unless he can find a powerful backer, such as those immortal orthodoxies the crowd discussed among themselves. However, Chu Kuangren did not care about them. He brought the little fox to a restaurant in ancient Sparrow City. Many of the customers in the restaurant had already run away when he arrived, afraid that they would be in trouble if they got involved with him. Only Sword Crown was at the side, drinking as if no one else was around. Since Chu Kuangren had left a billion spiritual marrow in the restaurant, Sword Crown was no longer chased away when he came in for a drink. Of course, there was no need to be polite to him either. Junior, you've caused quite a ruckus this time. As an outsider, you've killed the city lord. The Sage City will not let you go. In the Azure Orchid Immortal Realm, the 108 cities were interconnected, and the most powerful among them was the Sage City. The Sage City governed the other 107 cities. Although they did not usually interfere with the affairs of the other cities, Chu Kuangren, an outsider, had killed the city lord. This was something that they could not ignore. After all, this was considered a provocation to the Sage City. It doesn't matter. Let them come. Chu Kuangren said calmly, unconcerned about the Sage City's threat. Little friend, the Sage capital is guarded by an immortal. Although they rarely make a move, if they're forced into a corner, they can easily kill you. I advise you to find an immortal orthodoxy to join and seek protection. Jingguan advised Chu Kuangren. Joining other orthodoxies was also one of the important reasons why many foreign geniuses could do well in the immortal world. I can introduce you to someone, but I hope that you won't mention that I'm here after you go. Jianguan hesitated for a moment and then said, Sword Crown's former cultivation orthodoxy, Dragon Chant Sword Sect? Chu Kuangren's expression changed. The Dragon Chant Sword Sect was one of the immortal orthodoxies in the Green Orchid Immortal Realm. Its cultivators specialized in Sword Dao. Sword Crown was from this orthodoxy. Yes, I can introduce you to them, but I hope you won't reveal that I'm here. I don't want to see them right now. Jianguan's eyes revealed a dejected look. In the past, Jianguan was a peerless genius, a character who suppressed an era. But now, he was reduced to a useless drunkard. He no longer had to face his former cultivator. Chu Kuangren saw through Jianguan's thoughts, but he was also surprised that Jianguan was willing to introduce him to the Dragon Chant Sword Sect despite the risk of being found out. This made him even more determined. Jianguan, there's no need to introduce me to the Dragon Chant Sword Sect. I'm asking you now, are you willing to follow me? Chu Kuangren asked. Jianguan's eyes narrowed when he heard that. If someone had asked such a question in the past, he would have slashed him with his sword. Jianguan, the person who stood at the peak of Sword Dao, was an immortal, in the Green Orchid Immortal Realm, who was worthy of his following. Not to mention a young immortal seed who was not even an immortal. However, he was now a cripple, so there was nothing he could do even if he was angry. He looked at Chu Kuangren and said, I'm just a cripple. I don't think he's of any value to you, young friend. What's the point of following me? What if I can help you return to your peak? Chu Kuangren said. His words were like a bolt of lightning that made Jianguan's body tremble uncontrollably. He stared at Chu Kuangren in disbelief. Then, he let out a bitter laugh. Young friend, why are you trying to make fun of me? I've seen many famous doctors all over the world, but even Chun Fengzi, who's known as the Miracle Physician King, couldn't do anything about my injuries. If he was not so disheartened, Jianguan would not have given up on himself and become a useless drunkard in this small, ancient Sparrow City. Don't compare me to others. Chu Kuangren gently raised his hand. Water vapor gathered at his fingertips and turned into a few water needles that instantly pierced into Jianguan's body. He guided the water vapor to circulate around Jianguan's body a few times before he went to his injury and injected the water vapor into it. Jianguan's expression changed. He felt that his injury had been alleviated. How is this possible? After all, Even a Miracle Hand Physician King could not do such a thing. Yet, Chu Kuangren did it so effortlessly. At that moment, Jian Guan's eyes shone with unprecedented hope as he looked at Chu Kuangren. "Can you really cure me?" "Yes." Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. His voice was not loud, but it was unusually firm. It might not have been possible before he obtained the green capsule Heavenly Book. However, after obtaining the green capsule Heavenly Book, Chu Kuangren only needed to study it slowly. With his level of understanding, it would not take long for him to become a sage physician. By then, Jianguan's injury could be completely cured. After getting a guarantee, Jianguan pondered for a while before he took a deep breath and knelt in front of Chu Kuangren. "If you can really cure my injury, then I'm willing to follow you." No one wanted to be a useless person forever, especially Jianguan, who was once a peak existence among immortals. All these years, he seemed to be living a drunken life, but deep down, he was in more pain than anyone else. There were even times when he wanted to commit suicide. Now, Chu Kuangren's appearance had given him hope to return to his peak. He wanted to hold on to that hope at all costs. "Very well. First, go buy some clean clothes. I don't want to embarrass myself by dressing so sloppily and reeking of alcohol," Chu Kuangren said calmly. Jian Guan laughed dryly when he heard that. Not long after, Jian Guan changed into a clean gray robe and reappeared in front of Chu Kuangren after tidying up his appearance. Gray robe, black hair, and white sideburns, Jian Guan now looked much more energetic. Although there were some wrinkles on his face, his facial features were still vaguely recognizable. He was also a rare handsome man when he was young. "This looks much better." Chu Kuangren nodded in satisfaction. "Master, I can't repay you for healing my injury. I have an immortal technique here called the Thousand Lotus Sword Intent. Please accept it." Jian Guan addressed Chu Kuangren with more respect. He then took out a white jade scroll and handed it to Chu Kuangren. It was an immortal technique that he had sorted out in the past few days. Chu Kuangren was slightly surprised when he saw it. "You're not waiting for me to heal your injury before giving it to you, but giving it to me now. I've always intended to choose you as my successor. It doesn't make much difference whether I give it to you now or later," Jian Guan said. The Thousand Lotus Sword Intent is an immortal technique that Jian Guan created himself in the past. "This is a little interesting. I'll accept it then." Chu Kuangren did not refuse. Chapter 940. After Chu Kuangren had subdued the Sword Crown and obtained the Thousand Lotus Sword Intent, he did not immediately leave ancient Sparrow City. Instead, he found a place to stay, and that place was the city governor's mansion. Everyone in ancient Sparrow City was dumbfounded. After killing the city lord, he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he stayed in the city lord's mansion. What was going on? Hadn't they provoked the holy city enough? Arrogant. Simply too arrogant. After killing the city lord, you didn't leave immediately and even dared to stay in the city lord's residence. Aren't you afraid of the holy city's law enforcers coming? He's too arrogant. This guy is way too arrogant. Chu Kuangren did not care about the commotion outside the city hall. At this time, he was in closed-door cultivation in the city hall. There were two reasons for this seclusion. The first was to refine the resources from the heavenly fire grotto heaven. The second was to comprehend immortal techniques. In the Bai clan, he obtained a few more immortal spells from the city lord's mansion. Apart from that, there was also the immortal spell created by Sword Crown himself, the Thousand Lotus Sword Will. About 10 days later, Chu Kuangren had refined most of the treasures he obtained in the Sky Fire Grotto, and his cultivation level had also risen to the heavenly Dao Master Realm. Next, it was time to comprehend the various immortal techniques. Chu Kuangren had already gained insight into many immortal techniques, and he had even created 2 of them himself. It could be said that he was very familiar with gaining insight into immortal techniques. Now, he was not comprehending celestial techniques to use them. Instead, it was for the sake of comprehending the power of origin from the celestial art. However, perhaps the grade of the celestial art he had obtained from the City Lord Manor and the Bai clan was not high enough for him to successfully comprehend its origin. He set his sights on the last one, the Thousand Lotus Sword Will. Sword Crown's self-created immortal magic is far more powerful than the Bai clans and the City Lord's mansions. According to the legends, immortal magic corresponds to immortal magic and is divided into general immortal magic, earth immortal magic, heaven immortal magic, true immortal magic. Most of the techniques I've studied in the past were common immortal techniques. However, this Thousand Lotus Sword essence is most likely at the level of earthly immortal techniques. Earth immortal, the second stage of the immortal Tao. Are there many in the Qinglan immortal world? Chu Kuangren mumbled as if he was deep in thought. But after thinking about it for a while, he no longer paid attention to this question and wholeheartedly began to comprehend the Thousand Lotus Sword Will in his hand. This immortal technique was a Sword Tao immortal technique that was even more powerful than the Honorable Emperor Sword Art that Chu Kuangren currently possessed. Not only that, but the Venerable Emperor Sword technique was not a complete Sword Tao technique. As for the Thousand Lotus Sword intent, it was an incomparably pure Sword Tao immortal technique. Chu Kuangren combined this immortal technique with the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart that he possessed. Soon enough, he was able to comprehend the 8th origin, the origin of swords. In the City Lord's mansion, Sword Crown and the little fox stayed in the same courtyard. Jianguan held a bottle of wine in his hand and drank it mouthful by mouthful. On the other side, the little fox was playing with the flowers and plants out of boredom. "Boss, why aren't you out yet?" The little fox yawned. She had already refined the remnant immortal pill and had broken through to the Tao Lord level. Even though I can't use my cultivation base, I still have my senses. I can sense that young master's aura is constantly growing stronger. 2 days ago, I even sensed the ripples of immortal arts. Young master must be comprehending immortal arts. Jinguan said with a faint smile. Moreover, it was his Thousand Lotus Sword intent. How much longer will it take for him to come out? It'll take at least a few years. After all, my Thousand Lotus Sword intent isn't that easy to comprehend, Sword Crown said. He did not deny Chu Kuangren's talent, but he was also very confident in his Thousand Lotus Sword intent. In the Green Orchid Immortal realm, his Thousand Lotus Sword intent was definitely one of the best offensive immortal techniques. Oh, this is bad. Suddenly, Jianguan's expression changed. He looked into the distance and sensed several extremely powerful auras approaching the City Lord's residence. Moreover, they seemed to be hostile toward him. Are the Sage City enforcers here? Jianguan said solemnly. Not only Jianguan, but the other strong cultivators in the ancient Sparrow City had also sensed the sudden arrival of these powerful auras. Everyone looked at the streaks of light in the sky and discussed among themselves. What a terrifying aura. It's the Sage City enforcers. They're heading towards the City Lord's residence. As expected, they're targeting Chu Kuangren. Inside the City Lord's residence, Jianguan and the little fox were on standby. Little fox, it's better for you to find a place to hide. You can't deal with the people who are coming. Jianguan said calmly. Aren't you a cripple? Can you handle them? Jianguan's mouth twitched. Although the little fox was telling the truth, it was still hurtful to be so direct. Anyway, I have a way to delay them. Jianguan said calmly. Not long after, several streaks of light arrived above the City Lord's residence. There were 3 people in total, and each of them was wearing golden armor with an overbearing aura. Each of them was a hollow immortal. These 3 people were the Sage City enforcers. According to our intel, the outsider who killed the ancient Sparrow City Lord is now staying in the City Lord's residence. How arrogant. This is the first time we've seen such a bold outsider. That's right, the 3 hollow immortals said coldly. Suddenly, they saw Jianguan and the little fox in the courtyard. Oh, I didn't expect there to be others in the City Lord's residence. Are they with that outsider? Let's take care of them together. One of the enforcers said, deciding the fate of Jianguan and the little fox. At that moment, a chuckle was heard. Jian Guan was holding a flask of wine as he said, "The Sage City Enforcers. How impressive. Who are you?" One of the enforcers asked in surprise when he saw that Jian Guan was not afraid of them. An old man next to him stared at Jian Guan for a while. Then, as if he remembered something, his eyes narrowed. He quickly landed on the ground and said respectfully, "I didn't know that Jian Guan was here. Please forgive us for our rudeness." The other two enforcers sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard that. Sword Guan. It was Sword Guan, one of the 7 crowns of the Green Orchid Immortal Realm. The crowd could not help but be shocked. Legend had it that Sword Guan had disappeared for many years. Why would he suddenly appear here? "I'll protect the person you want to kill. You may leave," Jian Guan said calmly. The enforcers looked at each other, hesitating. "Master Jian Guan can protect this person, but I heard that your 1,000 Lotus Sword intent is unparalleled. I'm also a sword cultivator and have been fascinated by it for a long time. I hope you can teach me a thing or two." The old man who recognized Jian Guan's eyes flashed. He took out a sword and slashed at Jian Guan. The sword chi was like a flood as it slashed at Jian Guan. Suddenly, Jian Guan was pushed back, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The other two enforcers were shocked. "This is Sword Guan? Fake." The old man revealed a smile. "I once heard from the city lord that Lord Sword Crown had fought with Dao Crown many years ago and suffered heavy injuries. He had long since become a cripple. It seems that it is indeed so. If it wasn't for Dao Guan's trick, I wouldn't have lost to him." "Umph." Jian Guan harumphed coldly. When he mentioned Dao Guan, his eyes revealed a complicated expression. There was hatred and nostalgia. It was as if thinking of Dao Guan reminded him of someone else. Chapter 941. The Winner Takes All. No matter what you say now, it won't change the fact that you've lost to Sword Crown. I didn't expect to get such an unexpected reward from killing outsiders this time. Killing Sword Crown? I wouldn't even have dared to dream of this in the past. The elderly enforcer grinned. "If I was at my peak, I could kill 1,000 of you with a single swing of my sword." Sword Crown scoffed. He felt a little aggrieved. To think that he, the mighty Sword Crown, was once a peerless genius who could slay 1,000 dragons with a single swing of his sword, destroy hundreds of cities, and stand at the peak of swordsmanship. Yet now, he was humiliated by a few enforcers who were not even immortals. "Haha, Sword Crown, give me your life." The elderly enforcer laughed and was about to make his move. However, at that moment, not far away, inside a house, a cold surge of sword pressure exploded and turned into a horrifying purple sword shadow that hung in the air. The horrifying sword pressure made the enforcer's pupils dilate as they stared at the house under the sword shadow. "Whose life do you want?" An indifferent voice was heard. The sword shadow dissipated. With a creak, the house door opened. A figure dressed in a white, wide-sleeved robe walked out. His white robe was peerless, and his face was handsome. His every movement had a sense of transcendence. He walked out step by step, and with every step he took, a purple lotus form from pure sword chi bloomed beneath his feet. Lotus blooming with every step. This shocked many cultivators who were paying attention to the city hall. Lotus blooming with sword chi? Could this be the 1,000 Lotus Sword intent? Sword Crown's famous ultimate technique. Could this person be Sword Crown's inheritor? It's possible. Otherwise, why would Sword Crown protect him? Everyone was shocked. Sword Crown himself was even more shocked. He was the one who created the 1,000 Lotus Sword intent, and he was the one who gave it to Chu Kuangren. However, in his opinion, Chu Kuangren would need at least 10 years to master this immortal technique, and 100 years to master it completely. However, he could see that Chu Kuangren's mastery of the 1,000 Lotus Sword intent was already complete. Disregarding cultivation level, Chu Kuangren was no weaker than him. It had only been a few days. This learning ability, this comprehension, it's too freakish. Was he still human? "Whose life did you guys want?" Chu Kuangren asked again. "I want your life." The elderly enforcer snorted coldly. Then, his figure flashed as he charged towards Chu Kuangren. With a slash of his long sword, a razor-sharp sword ray whizzed out. Shu Quangren's gaze was calm as he slowly raised his hand. Then, the monarch chi in his body surged out and turned into a purple sword light. Wherever the sword light passed, purple lotuses bloomed. Thousand Lotus Sword will. Bang! The two sword lights collided. In the end, the Thousand Lotus Sword was like a hot knife through butter. The old man's sword light was torn apart like a thin piece of paper, and the sword light of the Thousand Lotus Sword intent landed on his body, tearing him into two halves. A single sword strike killed a void immortal. When the other two enforcers saw this, their pupils shrank. How could this be? This person's strength is even greater than the intelligence reports. It wasn't just the enforcers. The rest of the cultivators in the ancient Sparrow City were also dumbfounded. How many days had it been? This guy actually improved again. And the improvement was not just a little bit. This fellow was too terrifying. Even if it's an immortal Seed King, it's still too scary. Some of the cultivators could not help but swallow their saliva. Jianguan was also speechless. Although he could no longer use his cultivation, his senses were still there. He could sense the origin energy from Chu Quangren's Thousand Lotus Sword will. In just a few days, not only has he fully mastered the Thousand Lotus Sword will, but he has also mastered the sword origin energy. Master's level of comprehension is so terrifying. Jianguan could not help but exclaim, "Let's go." The other two Void Immortal Enforcers knew that they were no match for Chu Quangren, so they immediately gave up on the idea of fighting him and tried to escape. However, before they could take a few steps, purple lotuses appeared in the void, and the terrifying sword will had locked onto them. Where do you think you're going? The only path you can take is death. Chu Quangren's cold voice rang. The purple lotuses that were floating in the air suddenly shot towards the two Void Immortals. Each lotus was a terrifying sword chi. Not long after, the two Void Immortals were completely killed by the sword chi, killing Void Immortals with just a wave of his hand. Such combat strength made everyone at the scene speechless. Chu Quangren raised his hand and took the yin and yang rings of the Void Immortals. With his Emperor's thought, he found quite a lot of spiritual marrows inside. There are also a few immortal crystals. Are the Sacred City enforcers this poor? Is the Sacred City unable to pay their salaries? Chu Quangren curled his lips in disdain. Beside him, Jianguan's mouth twitched. Are the enforcers poor? Those yin and yang rings have billions of spiritual marrows. How poor can they be? One could only say that Chu Quangren was too rich now. He had obtained more than half of the treasures in the Sky Fire Grotto, the City Hall, and the Bai family's wealth. Coupled with the battle at the Purple Star Planet, he had gained a lot more. Although most of it was used to develop the Firmament Star, his current net worth was not even comparable to that of an immortal. All right, I'm tired of this ancient Sparrow City. It's time to leave, Chu Quangren said. However, although he had left, the commotion he caused did not stop. His name began to spread throughout the Green Orchid Immortal Realm. After all, every Celestial Seed King was the center of attention, not to mention a foreign Celestial Seed King. Moreover, Chu Quangren had offended the Church of Divine Flame and the Sacred City's two major forces in such a short period of time. He even killed a false immortal. It was hard for the forces in the immortal realm not to notice him. A foreign Celestial Seed King has caused such a huge commotion. This guy is too reckless. He won't live long. Maybe this guy should find an immortal orthodoxy to join. I heard that this guy has mastered the Thousand Lotus Sword intent. Jianguan has also appeared beside this guy before. What's the relationship between them? No matter what, this guy is worth paying attention to. Just as Chu Quangren's name began to spread throughout the Green Orchid Immortal Realm, another big event happened. Green Orchid Immortal Realm, in an ordinary mountain range somewhere. On that day, a large amount of gray mist suddenly gushed out from the depths of the mountain range. It did not take long for it to spread tens of thousands of kilometers. The place that was shrouded by the mist was a horrifying scene of destruction. Broken weapons, scattered bones, and the howling of the wind seemed to be mixed with the howling of vengeful spirits. It was like a place where immortals and gods had fallen. The moment this strange place appeared, all the great ones in the green orchid immortal realm sensed it and looked into the distance. This aura, it's the celestial ancient battlefield. F***CK. The celestial ancient battlefield has appeared. I'm afraid the orthodoxies in the green orchid immortal realm won't be able to sit still anymore. I'm afraid the immortals will make a move too. The celestial ancient war caused the ancient and complete immortal realm to shatter. Now that a corner of the battlefield has appeared, it must contain great opportunities. No one will not be tempted. If it's possible, we might even be able to find the cause of the celestial ancient war and come into contact with the most ancient secrets of the immortal realm. The appearance of the celestial ancient battlefield made the entire green orchid immortal realm restless. All of the immortal orthodoxies began to make their moves. Cultivators from all over were also rushing to the celestial ancient battlefield. Chapter 942. The appearance of the immortal ancient battlefield caused the various orthodoxies to take action. Immortal World Divine Flame Cult. In one of the grotto heavens, 3 different colored flames suddenly roared out. There was a scarlet flame, an azure flame, and a black flame. Each type of flame represented a divine flame on the divine flame list. The entire divine flaming cult was shocked. It's the scarlet blood divine flame, heavenly sea crystal flame, and netherworld flame. It's Sir Godchild. Sir Godchild has come out of seclusion. Sir Divine Child has finally come out of seclusion after 10 years. All the followers of the Divine Flame Ming cult who saw this scene were overjoyed. They looked at the source of the flames with fervent gazes. In the Divine Flame Ming cult, there was only one person who possessed 3 types of divine fire on the divine fire list at the same time. That was the number 1 godchild of the Divine Fire Ming cult, Hua Shunwang. He was also one of the kings of celestial seeds in the Qing Lan immortal world. Within the flame heavenly grotto, an imposing male walked out. Divine flames surrounded him, his aura powerful, stirring up the spiritual essence of heaven and earth. His eyes were like torches as he stared into the distance. This strange aura, is it the legendary ancient battlefield, the immortal ancient battlefield? Interesting. A strange look appeared in his eyes. In a mysterious place filled with giant parasol trees, several figures shrouded in golden red flames were conversing. These figures had a pair of gorgeous wings and didn't seem to be human cultivators. The immortal ancient battlefield has appeared. What do you guys think? Even a place like this has appeared. It looks like we can't hide from the world anymore. Let's let the Phoenix and Phoenix Maidens gain some experience. That's good too. As for the new Phoenix Maiden, her body contains the pure bloodline of the Divine Phoenix and is in the process of awakening. Let's not disturb her for now. Also, I heard that there's an outsider in the outside world who can use the Phoenix Flame. We must investigate this matter and have Fengzi make contact with him. If this person is harmful to our Phoenix clan, kill him on the spot. Understood. Not long after, the gorgeous Godly Phoenix and Godly Phoenix flew out of Wudong Abyss. On an island in the immortal world ocean, there were also dragon roars echoing. Then, the 2 mighty divine dragons soared into the clouds and left the island. On this day, the phoenix rises from the parasol tree. Divine dragon rises from the sea. This meant that a divine beast had entered the world. In a certain grand city, a youth wearing silver armor and holding a long spear revealed a bright light in his eyes. The appearance of the immortal ancient battlefield means that the immortal seeds have all been gathered. Perhaps I can find an opponent for my blood drinker spear. The blood-red spear in the young man's hand trembled slightly, and a boundless ferocious aura immediately gushed out of it. Wu Ji, even though you've obtained Master's true inheritance, you must know that there are always people better than you. You cannot be arrogant and complacent. Beside the silver-armored man, a man stood with his hands behind his back. His body was suffused with immortal radiance, and his aura was extraordinary. This person was the master of the holy city, one of the 7 crowns, Spear Crown. Yes, master, said the youth indifferently. However, there's a trace of indifference in his eyes. That's right. I've heard that the ancient Sparrow City Lord under the Holy City was killed by a foreign prodigy. Is this true? Yes, it's true. That's good. I hope I can meet this person in the immortal ancient battlefield. I will take his head and raise the prestige of my holy city. In the current Qinglan immortal world, there's a saying that there are 12 kings among the younger generation. It refers to the 12 kings with immortal seeds. In an empty mountain range, Chu Kuangren held the green heavenly scroll in his left hand, and according to the heavenly scroll's instructions, he condensed water qi into needles to heal Spear Crown's injuries. Meanwhile, Spear Crown was talking about some things in the Qinglan immortal world. Among them are the divine flame Ming cult's Hua Shenwang, the Holy City Lord's direct disciple Wu Ji, the Sword Burial Sea's young master, the Saber King. When mentioning the Sword Burial Sea, a cold glint flashed across Spear Crown's eyes. Chu Kuangren frowned. Heal your injuries and calm your mind. Yes, master. Spear Crown nodded and gradually calmed down. Sword Burial Sea? It sounds like a swordsmanship force. Why is this young master called the Saber King? Chu Kuangren asked curiously. Master, you may not know this, but the cultivators of the Sword Burial Sea are not sword cultivators, but saber cultivators. They bury their swords with their sabers. Their goal in cultivation is to prove that the saber is superior to the sword. And the Sword Burial Sea's master is the most powerful cultivator in the Sword Dao of the Qinglan immortal world, the immortal level. Spear Crown. Chu Kuangren shook his head and said, most weapons in this world are created to hurt and kill people. There's no difference in their nature, and there's no difference between them. The Sword Burial Sea's goal in cultivation is extremely boring. Master, you're right. The 12 kings of the immortal realm. Are there only 12 celestial seed kings in this immortal realm? Chu Kuangren asked again. It's more than that. The 12 kings are just the 12 famous celestial seed kings. There are more or less some celestial seed kings hidden by the various orthodoxies. For example, the Wudong Mountain and the Dragon God Island, which are the divine beast clans, they definitely have more than one celestial seed king. Oh, there are divine beast clans in the Qinglan immortal realm. Yes, although they are divine beasts, rumor has it that their divine beast bloodline is only considered thin. Even so, they are still divine beasts and should not be underestimated. They can be said to be one of the most powerful forces in the Qinglan immortal realm, Spear Crown said. Are there any celestial seed kings among the outsiders? Chu Kuangren's expression changed as he asked. There used to be, but outsiders are suppressed by the natives, so it's difficult for them to develop. Most of them rely on the various orthodoxies, but because of their identity as outsiders, they are more or less ostracized. Among the 12 kings, only Dugiyu is an outsider, and he is now attached to the spirit Sovereign Mountain. Spear Crown thought for a while and said, this is all information from a few years ago. Recently, the Qinglan immortal realm has been manifesting in the outside world, and another batch of outsiders has entered. Among these outsiders, besides Master, I'm not sure if there are any new celestial seed kings. Understood. Chu Kuangren retracted the water qi in Spear Crown's body. It seems that the immortal ancient battlefield's appearance will be more interesting than the Heaven Fire Paradise. Beside him, Spear Crown sensed the injuries in his body. Compared to before, it was much better. Now that he could use some of his strength, it made him even more loyal to Chu Kuangren. After a few more treatments, the injuries in your body should be more or less healed. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said, thank you, Master. Boss, I found a seal in front of us. Could there be some treasures inside? At that moment, Little Fox ran over and said. Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. Let's go take a look. Little Fox led Chu Kuangren and Spear Crown to the front of the cave. The cave looked ordinary, but it was densely packed with powerful seals. Once they entered, they would be violently attacked. This seal isn't natural. It's man-made, and there's someone in this cave. No, this aura, it's a demon. His aura is messy, and it looks like he's injured. Forget it. This has nothing to do with us. Let's leave, Chu Kuangren said. Just as they were about to leave, a few golden rays of light came from afar and landed around the cave. A wave of overbearing killing intent instantly enveloped Chu Kuangren, Little Fox, and Spear Crown. Chapter 943. The golden stream of light arrived above Chu Kuangren and the others. Each of them was wearing standard armor and a cloak with a golden three-legged bird embroidered on it. It was a majestic sight. Seeing these people, Sword Crown's expression changed slightly. These are the Honorable Demon Court's Golden Crow Guards. The Honorable Demon Court's Golden Crow Guards? Chu Kuangren frowned. Over the past few days, he had gained some understanding of the distribution of forces in the Qinglan immortal realm. He had heard of the Honorable Demon Court before. It was one of the top orthodoxies of the demon race. It could even be said that it was the strongest force of the demon race other than Mount Wudong and the Dragon God Island. That's right, the Honorable Demon Court's Golden Crow Guards. This is the most important force of the Demon Court. Rumor has it that they only listen to the Demon Court Lord and a few Demon Court Princes. As for the other demon races, they can't order them around. Sword Light's gaze was serious. In other words, the appearance of the Honorable Demon Court's Golden Crow Guards meant that they were related to the Demon Court's royal family. Interesting. The Honorable Demon Court's Golden Crow Guards are here to capture a demon. Is there something special about this demon race? Chu Kuangren had a strange look in his eyes. At that moment, the Golden Crow Guards had also noticed Chu Kuangren and the others. Humans? That demon's aura disappeared here. It should be hiding in this cave, but how many humans are here? One of the Golden Crow Guards frowned. This demon is very important. We can't let others know about it. Let's kill these people as well. All right, judging from the aura, that young man is a heavenly Dao master. As for the young demon and the old man, there's nothing to be afraid of. The Golden Crow Guards exchanged a few words. Their domineering aura shrouded the surroundings, not giving Chu Kuangren and the others any chance to escape. Their words had already determined the fate of Chu Kuangren and the others. Humans, it's your bad luck to appear here. Die. One of the Golden Crow Guards suddenly attacked. With a grab, a powerful demonic chi erupted and turned into a giant golden hand that pressed towards Chu Kuangren and the others. Presumptuous. Chu Kuangren let out a cold grunt and unleashed a punch. His physical strength and Emperor's chi exploded at the same time, forcibly shattering the golden hand. Boundless force swept out and landed on the body of the Golden Crow Guard, shattering the armor on his body and causing him to vomit blood. What? His strength is definitely not that of an ordinary lord of the heavenly law. Furthermore, he isn't that old either. Could he be a king of celestial seeds? Not good, I was too careless. The expressions of the Golden Crow Guards suddenly changed. Attack together. The leader of the Golden Crow Guards let out an enraged roar and transformed into a giant black eagle that flew towards Chu Kuangren. The eagle's claw swiped down as if it wanted to tear apart the void and destroy the stars. Courting death. Chu Kuangren's expression turned cold. He didn't want to interfere in the matters of the Demon Court, but the Demon Court was too overbearing. Just because they passed by, they took their lives. Then all he could do was kill for kill. Faced with the incoming eagle, Chu Kuangren raised his arm and unleashed a punch. His physical strength and Emperor's chi exploded at the same time, shattering the eagle's claw. The powerful force almost destroyed half of the eagle's body. The other Golden Crow Guards also rushed towards Chu Kuangren. All kinds of immortal techniques were unleashed. Chu Kuangren stood still like a mountain. With a lift of his arm, a golden red phoenix flame turned into waves of fire and spread out. Amidst the explosion, the Golden Crow Guard were sent flying by the waves of fire. Phoenix flame, it's the Phoenix flame. How can this guy master the Phoenix flame? Is he a divine beast? No, this aura clearly belongs to a human. The Golden Crow Guards stared at Chu Kuangren in shock. However, one of them seemed to be deep in thought. I heard that a human who mastered the Phoenix Flame recently appeared. His name is Chu Kwangren, and he even killed a few Sage City enforcers. It seems like that person is you. Oh, it seems like your reputation has spread to the demon court. Chu Kwangren smirked. The Golden Crow Guard snorted at his words. You may be a celestial seed king, but you're still an outsider. You've already offended the Sage City. Do you still want to go against the demon court? Why not? Chu Kwangren did not seem to care. Presumptuous outsider. The few Golden Crow Guards then transformed into their true demonic forms. Without exception, they were all powerful flying beasts. There were eagles, falcons, and rocks. Chu Kwangren laughed. What's wrong? Do I have to have wings to become a Golden Crow Guard? If that's the case, you guys shouldn't be called Golden Crow Guards anymore. Let's change your name to Bird Guards. You're courting death. The Golden Crow Guards were furious, and their demonic chi instantly enveloped the entire area. Forget it. I'm not going to play with you guys anymore. Chu Kwangren shook his head. An extremely powerful emperor's chi and mind power circulated around his body before it turned into a purplish-red light wave that spread out. With a single thought, the heavens and earth perished. In an instant, the Golden Crow Guards were reduced to dust and fear. I was too careless. I should have kept a few for grilling chicken wings. Chu Kwangren said with some regret. Beside him, the little fox shrunk her neck. This boss is so cruel. Beside her, Jingguan was a little worried. His master had already offended the Sage City, and now he had offended the honorable demon court. Right? There's also the divine flame school of light. Besides, now that he's involved with me, the buried sword sea will not let him off easily. At that thought, Jingguan could not help but feel a headache coming on. An outsider had offended so many immortal orthodoxies. He was probably the most arrogant outsider in the history of the Green Orchid Immortal Realm. This won't do. I need to recover my strength as soon as possible. Only Jingguan at his peak can protect my master. Jingguan secretly made up his mind. This time, he was not just doing it for himself. There was also Chu Kwangren. You've been watching from the side for so long. It's about time you come out. Chu Kwangren said. Then, a beautiful figure slowly walked out of the cave. It was a woman dressed in a green dress. She had a curvaceous figure, waist-length black hair, creamy skin, and exquisite facial features. This woman's eyes, in particular, were the color of colored glass, like a pair of jade, crystal clear, and there was a tear-shaped mole under her eyebrows. Not only did it not destroy the overall beauty, but it also added a touch of charm to her. She was very beautiful. However, Chu Kwangren was not moved at all. The spirit of omniscience was activated, and with a glance, he began to analyze. Oh, a mutated green Luan? Chu Kwangren was slightly surprised. According to rumors, the green Luan was a mutated phoenix that was very rare. Just like the Moonlight Fox was a mutated divine beast, the nine-tailed celestial fox, and it had extraordinary divine abilities. The green Luan's divine ability was called the Eye of the Green Luan. This divine ability could see through illusions and see real things. It could even see a person's past and future, which was very powerful. The green Luan was shocked. She did not expect Chu Kwangren to see through her true form with just a glance. She was also using her divine ability to look at Chu Kwangren. It did not matter if she did not look, but when she looked, it was like she was struck by lightning. Nothingness. Nothingness in front of her. Nothingness in life. Nothingness in the past. Nothingness in the future. Even now, it was also nothingness. It was as if the person in front of her had transcended everything. He did not exist in the 3,000 realms, and he did not enter the great Taoist cycle. Chapter 944. The Blue Phoenix was stunned. The life matrix was nothing, transcending everything, not in the 3,000 realms, not entering the reincarnation cycle. What kind of existence was this? Even the immortal's life matrix could not be like this. What was the origin of this human in front of her? The Blue Phoenix was completely stunned. Have you seen enough? What did you see? Chu Kwangren asked curiously. I'm sorry for offending you. The Blue Phoenix quickly lowered her head and said in fear and trepidation. She was 100% sure that the man in front of her must not be provoked. This was definitely one of the taboos in this world. The Blue Phoenix was born with divine powers that could sense the Tao of the universe and know that there were some extremely terrifying taboos in this world. Those existences, even the strongest immortals would be incomparably afraid. Obviously, the existence of the life matrix in front of her was that kind of taboo existence. Even if it was not now, it was likely to become a taboo in the future. She was already secretly thinking about something in her heart. I say, should I kill you? At this time, Chu Kuangren's voice rang in her ears. Hearing this, the Blue Phoenix's pupils suddenly shrank, and a trace of fear appeared in her jade-like eyes. Kill her. Master, I don't know what I did wrong. Look, I just killed a few golden crow guards of the Supreme Demon Court. You witnessed everything. Should I kill you to silence you? Chu Kuangren's eyes were filled with killing intent. It seemed that he was really considering killing the Blue Phoenix. Master, please rest assured that I will keep this a secret. Moreover, I have a grudge against the Honorable Demon Court, so it is impossible for me to go to them. The Blue Phoenix said quickly. Oh, so you have a grudge against them. That's even better. I'll capture you and send you to the Honorable Demon Court. I don't know if they will forgive me for my offense. Chu Kuangren seemed to be pondering. Beside him, Jingguan rolled his eyes. With Chu Kuangren's personality, would he apologize to the Demon Court? He did not believe that Jingguan would be killed anyway. There was only one purpose for Chu Kuangren to say these words. He was deceiving the Blue Phoenix and wanted to get some information from the other party. For example, why the Honorable Demon Court would send the Golden Crow Guards to capture her. Master, please send me back to Wudong Mountain. I am willing to give you a treasure. The Blue Phoenix gritted her teeth and said, Tell me about it. To tell you the truth, the reason why the Supreme Demon Court is chasing me is because of this treasure. Qing Wan took out an ancient bronze mirror. Chu Kuangren glanced at the copper mirror and activated the spirit of omniscience. However, he was unable to completely analyze it in such a short time. Chu Kuangren's interest was instantly piqued. A treasure that even the omniscient spirit had to spend time to analyze was rare. This simple and unadorned copper mirror was of a very high grade. It was definitely above a Tao artifact. An immortal artifact. It was probably not an ordinary immortal artifact. Go on. I was originally a nameless divine phoenix of Wudong Mountain. Many years ago, I left Wudong Mountain to travel, but I met the crown prince of the sovereign demon court, Jin Dai. He took a fancy to my identity as the divine phoenix of Wudong Mountain and captured me, imprisoning me in the demon court. It has been several years since then. Not long ago, the Azure Luan bloodline in my body awakened, and it actually activated the Azure Luan mirror in the collection of the Supreme Demon Court. This mirror helped me break through the restrictions of the Demon Court and escape. But later on, the energy of the Azure Luan mirror was exhausted, and I was chased by the Golden Crow Guards. Only then did I meet young Master. The Azure Luan said slowly. Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed when he heard this. The Azure Luan was previously a divine phoenix, but there were so many divine phoenixes in Wudong Mountain. Why did the sovereign demon court crown prince take a fancy to the Azure Luan? Did he know in advance that the other party contained the Azure Luan bloodline? Unlikely. Then it was a matter of identity. The other party's identity in Wudong Mountain was not ordinary, at least not like what the Azure Luan said. It was just a nameless divine phoenix. Chu Kuangren thought for a while and knew that the Azure Luan did not say all the information, but he did not care too much. Aren't you afraid that I won't agree to your request and kill you directly, snatch this Azure Luan mirror, and run away? Chu Kuangren said playfully. No, young master, if you kill me and snatch the Azure Luan mirror, then you will offend the Sovereign Demon Court and Wudong Mountain at the same time. In the Green Orchid Immortal world, no one can offend these two great forces and come out unscathed. There is no one else here. If I kill you, how will Wudong Mountain know? If not, I can fake it and put the blame on the Sovereign Demon Court. Chu Kuangren said, stroking his chin as if he was really thinking about the feasibility of this matter. The azure wand beside him was frightened. Was this human a devil? No, this azure wand mirror has a limit. Only the azure wand can use it. If you kill me, you won't be able to use this fairy weapon. I say, are you playing with me? Since this mirror can only be used by the azure wand, then when you return to Wudong Mountain, what use do I have for this mirror? To look at it in the mirror? Chu Kuangren said coldly. It was obvious that he was a little angry. Young master, this azure wand mirror contains an immortal scripture. As long as you bring me back to Wudong Mountain, I will give this immortal scripture to you. The azure wand continued, cold sweat already dripping from her forehead. Chu Kuangren was a little angry just now, and the slight killing intent that leaked out already made her heart tremble, as if she was facing a god of death. Being with this human, she had a feeling that she was in danger. He was obviously so good-looking, but how could he be so terrifying? There is also an immortal scripture. Chu Kuangren withdrew his killing intent, and his eyes lit up. This trick really did get a lot of things. The crown prince of the demon court, the azure wand of Wudong Mountain, the fairy weapon azure wand mirror, and an immortal scripture. TSK. He might just get a lot out of it. Chu Kuangren stretched out his hand. Give me the azure wand mirror. The azure wand reluctantly handed it over. Chu Kuangren wanted to take it, but the azure wand held onto it tightly, as if she was reluctant to let go. He raised his eyebrows, and with a little force, he pulled the mirror over. In terms of brute force, even 10 azure wands could not beat him. After taking the mirror, he channeled his emperor's chi into it, but the mirror did not move at all. There was no reaction at all. It seemed like only the azure wand could use it. Interesting. Chu Kuangren played with it for a while, then said to the azure wand, "From now on, you will follow me. As for when I will bring you back to Wudong Mountain, that will depend on my mood." He had agreed to the azure wand. "Thank you, young master." The azure wand's eyes lit up. "By the way, what's your name?" "Azure Wind, Azure Wand, Azure Wind." At this point, Chu Kuangren had another divine beast by his side. On the way to the immortal ancient battlefield, he had been studying the azure wand mirror. The all-knowing spirit had almost finished analyzing this mirror, and its origin had left him speechless. This azure wand mirror came from the Kunlun Jasper Lake, the legendary sacred land of the immortal realm, the Kunlun Jasper Lake. It was not the green orchid immortal realm, but the immortal realm when it was complete. It was said that the leader of all the female immortals lived on the Kunlun Jasper Lake was the Queen Mother of the West. That was an extraordinary and terrifying existence, a powerhouse among the immortals. I can't believe the origin of this azure wand mirror is so terrifying. It's related to such an existence. Wait, could the immortal scripture in this azure wand mirror be? Chu Kuangren seemed to have thought of something, and his heart trembled. "Master, you're right. The immortal scripture in this azure wand mirror is the Jade Lake immortal scripture that the Queen Mother of the West cultivated." The all-knowing spirit, Xiao AI, said. Chapter 945. The Jade Lake Immortal Scripture, the immortal scripture cultivated by the ancient deity, the Queen Mother of the West. Oh my God, I've definitely picked up a treasure. Chu Kuangren's breathing became heavier. The immortal scripture was already a peerless treasure in the Qinglan immortal world, and the Jade Lake immortal scripture was the immortal scripture that the Queen Mother of the West cultivated. It was the immortal scripture among the immortal scriptures. Even in the complete immortal world, it was still a supreme treasure. According to the legends of the ancient world of immortals, the Western Queen Mother of the Jade Lake was always accompanied by a blue wand. This blue wand mirror contains the Jade Lake immortal scripture. Maybe it was given to the blue wand by the Western Queen Mother, but why did it end up here? But this item was obtained by me, and it is of great use to me. If I don't accept what the heavens have given me, I'll have to face retribution. I'll gladly accept it then. Chu Kuangren's lips curled into a smile. He was in a good mood. Master, don't celebrate too early. According to the analysis, this Jade Lake Immortal Scripture is only a fragment. It is not the complete Jade Lake Immortal Scripture. That's enough. Someone like the Queen Mother of the West. Even an incomplete Immortal Scripture is enough for me to cultivate at my current level. Shu Kuangren did not feel regretful at all. In the end, the Celestial Sutra was someone else's cultivation path. Even the Jade Pool Celestial Sutra belonged to the Queen Mother of the West, not him. To him, it was only for reference. The complete version was naturally even better. However, an incomplete scripture was not a big deal. Now, the only way is to extract this immortal scripture. However, only Qing Wan can use the Cyan Wan mirror. If I want Qing Feng to display this immortal scripture for me, it will probably be a little difficult. After all, we just reached an agreement. Before I send her back to Mount Wudong, she won't give me this immortal scripture. Shu Kuangren thought, wait a minute. The Cyan Phoenix mirror could only be used by the Cyan Phoenix. What if I become a blue Wan? Shu Kuangren had a flash of inspiration. He had the physique book, so he could completely analyze the Azure Wan physique. If he used this physique to activate the Azure Wan mirror, wouldn't that be enough? Xiao AI, is this idea feasible? Shu Kuangren repeated his explanation to Xiao AI. According to the analysis, the feasibility is 90%. That's good. Shu Kuangren smirked as he raised the green phoenix mirror and looked at his own reflection. He chuckled and said, "You're such a clever little devil." Not far away, Green Luan had a puzzled look on her face. Even if this fellow was handsome and narcissistic, there was no need for him to show off in front of himself in the mirror, right? Besides, that's my mirror. Then, she noticed that Shu Kuangren had turned his head to look at her with a playful smile on his face. She could not help but shudder. What was this human plotting? For the next few days, Shu Kuangren intentionally or unintentionally approached the Green Luan and used the Book of Physique to analyze the other party's physique. As for his actions, Qing Wan also noticed it. At first, she was not used to it, but later on, she unconsciously immersed herself in it. There was no other way. He was simply too good-looking. "Boss, what's going on these few days?" This time, the little fox was a little dissatisfied. "That bird is just a little taller than me, has a bigger chest, and a perky butt. What's so great about that?" Jianguan was drinking at the side. When he heard her muttering, he chuckled and said, "For a man, these points are enough." Shu Kuangren walked over and glared at him. "How disrespectful." Jianguan gave a hollow laugh. "Boss." The little fox immediately greeted him and looked at Shu Kuangren expectantly, making him a little confused. "What's wrong?" "Boss, you don't have that today." "Which one?" "That one." The little fox pointed at her head. Only then did Shu Kuangren come back to his senses. He raised his hand and patted the other party's head, puzzled. "Is it this one?" The little fox nodded with a look of enjoyment, then looked at Qing Feng playfully. Qing Feng pursed his lips, not taking it seriously. Wasn't it just patting the head? What's so great about it? A divine beast was being patted like a pet by a human. How shameless. Qing Feng thought so, but when she looked at Shu Kuangren's hand, she could not help but reveal a trace of envy and anticipation. "Why? Do you want to be patted too?" Shu Kuangren raised his other hand and asked curiously. "No, I don't need it." Qing Feng shook her head. In the end, she could not bring herself to do it. However, looking at the little fox's unbridled and proud look, she could not help but feel jealous. She wanted to be patted too. Just as she was letting her imagination run wild, a warm palm had already been placed on her head, gently rubbing it twice. "Is this okay?" Shu Kuangren said calmly. The blue phoenix's face flushed red. She felt like she was about to burst into flames, but she nodded gently to show that it was okay. Beside her, Jianguan watched in amazement. What was a beast-taming master? This was a beast-taming master. Whether it was the blue phoenix or the moonlight fox, they all had to be obedient. Awesome, awesome. Shu Kuangren was using the Book of Physique to analyze the blue phoenix's physique. He estimated that it would be done in a few days. 3 days later, Shu Kuangren and the others were very close to the immortal ancient battlefield. Not only that, but they also encountered some immortal seeds. Not far ahead is Heaven Luo City. It's one of the 108 cities, and it's also the city closest to the immortal ancient battlefield. Those who came to explore the immortal ancient battlefield are temporarily staying there. Jianguan said, as far as everyone's eyes could see, they could only see a magnificent city rising from the ground. People came and went, and there were also countless guards patrolling the streets. Boss, you killed the ancient Phoenix City Lord and the Sage City's enforcers. Won't you cause trouble if you just go in like that? Little Fox asked. Qing Feng was stunned when she heard that. She knew about the Sage City. Did Chu Kuangren offend such a force? Don't worry. Now that there are so many immortal seeds in Heaven Luo City, they won't have the time to care about me. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Yes, that's right. Now that everyone's focused on exploring the immortal ancient battlefield, as long as you don't do anything out of line, no one will notice you, Master. Jianguan added. Then, the few of them walked towards Heaven Luo City. Just as Chu Kuangren expected, everyone was now planning how to explore the immortal ancient battlefield, so no one paid attention to him. Besides, not many people had seen him before. He had only become famous in the Green Orchid immortal world in the past few days. After entering Heaven Luo City, the group found an inn to rest, planning to gather some information before making a move. Not long after Chu Kuangren entered Heaven Luo City. At the city gate, a silver-haired silhouette in silver-white armor walked over. She looked at Heaven Luo City and murmured, Master, will you come here? Outsiders, pay the entrance fee before entering the city. A guard shouted at the silver-haired silhouette. The others looked at her curiously. Although the silver-haired silhouette had covered her face with a spiritual veil, one could vaguely see her peerless beauty. The holy aura on her body was also eye-catching. TSK. Perhaps she's a peerless beauty, a guard said in amazement. Humph. Lan Yu snorted as her Dowlord aura erupted. A Dowlord was already considered an expert. A few of the guards were intimidated and retracted their gazes. Take it. Lan Yu threw a yin and yang ring and paid the entrance fee. Not long after she left, a few more people came over. The leader was a young man riding a red lion. It's that woman's light aura. The red lion wrinkled its nose and said. The eyes of the young man and the others lit up. I can't believe that woman is here too. I've searched far and wide for her. That woman killed so many of my beasts. I must teach her a lesson this time. Chapter 946. Heaven Luo City. Chu Kuangren and the others found an inn to stay in for the time being. At the same time, they were also gathering information before they planned to enter the immortal ancient battlefield. The vengeful spirits in the immortal ancient battlefield are too terrifying. I heard that another celestial seed cultivator died in there today. These vengeful spirits are formed by the combination of resentment from the shattered immortal souls. Of course, they're powerful. I heard that there are even more vengeful spirits in the depths of the immortal ancient battlefield. Just thinking about it is scary. Although the immortal ancient battlefield is dangerous, there are many opportunities of fortune and treasures too. Immortal pills and immortal weapons might appear occasionally. Although they've lost most of their power, they're still not to be underestimated. The cultivators who had explored the immortal ancient battlefield were discussing among themselves. Chu Kuangren listened from his side. This immortal ancient battlefield is only a corner of the immortal ancient battlefield, but it's already so terrifying. It's hard to imagine the scale of the great battle that destroyed the entire immortal realm. Someone could not help but exclaim. Many cultivators fell into deep thought too. That kind of battle was not something they could imagine. Boom! At that moment, there was a sudden explosion of powerful energy in the distance. It seemed like someone was fighting in Heaven Luo City. The cultivator's attention was immediately drawn to that direction. What's going on? Someone dares to cause trouble in Heaven Luo City? Aren't they afraid of attracting the attention of the city guards? Let's go and have a look. Little Fox and Qing Feng also looked into the distance curiously. Boss, should we go and have a look? Mind your own business, Chu Kuangren said calmly. Heaven Luo City. A white figure with a pair of wings on his back was flying past, and behind him, there were a few figures in hot pursuit. Huh, is that some kind of demon? Doesn't look like it. There's no demonic chi, so this should be some kind of mutated human. The universe is so big that there are all kinds of races. Downlord Realm. The people on the street looked at the few rays of light and discussed among themselves. Soon, a few powerful flying beasts appeared in front of the white ray of light, blocking her way. ***. Lan Yu's expression turned cold. She raised her hand and channeled the Emperor's chi within her body. The power of light erupted, and white spears formed in the void before shooting out. Although the Yao beasts were repelled, it did not take long for the few beams of light behind them to catch up and surround Lan Yu. Featherman, just a trifling little Dowlord. Where do you think you can run to? A young man sneered. I have no enmity with your beast hunter star. Why are you pursuing me so relentlessly? Lan Yu asked coldly. She was only a minor Dowlord, so she had no way of fighting back against an immortal sea giant like the beast-hunting planet's young master. If not for the life-saving items that Chu Kuangren had taken from the Purple Star Civilization and the Black Blood Gang, they would have been captured long ago. But now, those treasures had all been used up. She felt a little hopeless. You've killed so many demonic beasts. Shouldn't you compensate them? TSK, winged people, such a strange race. I rarely see them on Beast Hunting Planet. I'm going to capture you and make you into my collection. The young master of Beast Hunting Star said in amazement. The winged people were not unique to Firmament Star. They could be found on other planets with life as well, and they were considered a mutated species among the human race. There were also some on Beast Hunting Planet, but due to their outstanding appearance and combat talents, they had been hunted and hunted many times. Now, they were considered an endangered species. Even the young master of Beast Hunting Star had not seen many of them. Not to mention, Lan Yu was an outstanding winged person. Her holy and radiant aura was definitely unique among the winged person. That was also the reason why he was so relentless in pursuing Lan Yu. Outsiders, what are you doing here? At that moment, the city defense army arrived. They were led by a middle-aged general. He looked at Lan Yu and the others with a cold gaze. The young master of Beast Hunting Star was not surprised by the arrival of the city defense army. He immediately took out a red token that was engraved with flame patterns. I'm a god's child in preparation for the Divine Flame sect. I'm here to capture an outsider. I hope the general can give us some face and we'll settle this quickly. Lan Yu frowned when she saw that. She had been in Qinglan Immortal World for some time now, and she knew that outsiders were not welcomed here. However, she did not expect that the young master of Beast Hunting Star would join the Divine Flame sect so quickly and even become a god's child in preparation. The middle-aged general pondered for a while. The Divine Flame sect's heritage was not inferior to the Celestial Cities, and Tianluo City was only one of the 108 cities. After some consideration, the middle-aged general said, since it's the Divine Flame sect's business, we won't interfere. By the way, a few God's children from the Divine Flame sect are now guests in the city governor's residence. They are also considered guests of Tianluo City. Do you need our help to capture this person? That's great. General, please seal off this person's escape route. Let me capture her myself. The young master of Beast Hunting Star smiled. All right. The middle-aged general nodded and sealed off all escape routes. Even if I die in battle, I will never yield. Lan Yu took a deep breath. Her eyes revealed a determined look as her body burned with white flames, and her aura continued to rise. The thick aura of light was like a tide, constantly spreading outwards. Oh, the life energy burning technique. However, this technique can only increase your cultivation level by 1 level at most. How can you be my opponent? The young master of Beast Hunting Star said disdainfully. He was a peak Great Tao Lord, and had even comprehended an origin energy. He could be said to be a celestial sea giant. Otherwise, he would not have been able to join the Divine Flame sect and become a godchild in preparation. As for Lan Yu, she was just a little Tao Lord. Even if she burned her life energy, she would not be his opponent. The difference between them was too great. It doesn't matter even if you die. I will make a specimen of your body and keep it well. The young master of Beast Hunting Star made his move. With a palm strike, majestic emperor energy erupted and sent Lan Yu, who was burning her life energy, flying while vomiting blood. I'll have to go easy on you. If I break you, then this specimen won't look good. The young master of Beast Hunting Star grinned. Lan Yu snorted coldly. Her escape route was sealed, and there was a strong enemy, like the young master of Beast Hunting Star, in front of her. She could only fight to the death. On the other side, Chu Kuangren was drinking in an inn when a sudden light aura came from afar, causing his expression to change. This aura, how can it be? He stood up abruptly and looked into the distance. The next moment, he disappeared from where he stood. Little Fox and Sword Crown looked at each other. They were confused. It was the first time they had seen Chu Kuangren so nervous. What happened? Let's follow them. Perhaps it has something to do with the battle earlier. On the street, the city guards had sealed off all escape routes. The young master of Beast Hunting Star made his move and suppressed Lan Yu completely. The power of a celestial sea giant was not something Lan Yu could handle. My next move will end your life. The young master of Beast Hunting Star sneered at Lan Yu's weakened aura. With a lift of his arm, his emperor energy and Taoist patterns intertwined to form a ferocious beast shadow. Just when he was about to make his move, an extremely cold, killing intent descended from the sky and enveloped the entire area. Lan Yu smiled when she sensed the killing intent. She knew that the light aura she released was not wasted. Master, that you're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.